Chapter 870. Why don't you sleep a little longer? Seeing Lu Yuan sitting on the bed in a daze early in the morning, Bibidon poked her little head out of the bed with a trace of concern in her pink eyes. I can't sleep. You should sleep a little longer. You were very tired last night. Lu Yuan said softly as he caressed Bibidon's pretty face. I'm not sleeping anymore. I've already recovered. You know my strength. Bibidon said softly. That's true. Hearing that, Lu Yuan nodded. Although Bibidon's physique was not that of a demigod, it was still much stronger than Zhu Zhuqing and Hu Lena. Come, let me hug you for a while. Looking at Bibidon, Lu Yuan said softly with a smile. Hearing that, Bibidon rolled her eyes at him, but she still got up slightly and burrowed into his arms. Lu Yuan couldn't help but hug her slender waist tightly and sniff the delicate fragrance coming from her body. My Dong-er is indeed a rare beauty. The more I stay with you, the more I don't want to leave. I'm really more and more infatuated with you. Staring at Bibidon's pink eyes, Lu Yuan said with a smile. I'm not as beautiful as Gu Yuana. She's the real unparalleled beauty. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Bibidon was overjoyed, but she said something else. You're right. Just as Bibidon finished speaking, Lu Yuan nodded and said, You're right. Bastard. Bibidon couldn't help but complain coquettishly. She lightly hammered Lu Yuan's chest. She was just being modest, but this man actually agreed that she wasn't as beautiful as Gu Yuana. Seeing that, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. This woman was quite interesting. Still laughing? You heartless fellow, Bibidon said angrily. How am I heartless? You said it yourself, didn't you? I didn't suggest it. Lu Yuan said innocently. Chimph, you agree. That's what you think in your heart, Bibidon said. You said that Na is prettier than you. That's true. Even Cher isn't as pretty as Na. But if we're talking about my attractiveness, you're no less than her. You're unique. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Chimph, you've passed. You actually dare to say that other women are beautiful when you're with me. You're really asking for a beating. Bibidon muttered softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. She was the one who suggested it first. This woman was completely unreasonable. Oh yes, Long Xiaoyao and the rest returned last night. Do you want to meet them today? Bibidon asked. Let's meet them to understand the situation. Next, we'll have to wait for Heaven Do to make a move. Have you sent a message to Cher? Lu Yuan asked softly as he caressed Bibidon's hair. I've already sent a message. But Cher is very opinionated. She only listens to you. Furthermore, Heaven Do's situation can't be changed. So I still have to make a trip to Heaven Do. Furthermore, I haven't been back for a long time. It's just that it's been hard on you. We've only been together for 2 days. I really want to keep you company. Lu Yuan said gently. It's good that you have the heart. I don't feel bad. It's already good enough that I can be with you. Bibidon shook her head and said. She was already very satisfied to be able to find love in this life. Dong-er. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel warmth in his heart. Silly. Bibidon pouted when she saw how touched Lu Yuan was. Then she burrowed deeper into Lu Yuan's embrace. Dong-er, I'll teach you a secret technique. I've wanted to teach you for a long time, but I never thought of it. Today, I finally remembered. What secret technique? Bibidon asked curiously. It's called the esoteric character. Lu Yuan said with a smile as he hugged Bibidon. The destruction of the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect couldn't be hidden. 2 days later, this news had spread throughout the entire Heaven Do Empire. The leaders of all the major powers had already received this news. Everyone was in a state of panic. When Yu Xian's Tang Yuhua heard the news, she couldn't take the blow and fainted. The other major powers were all trembling. 2 of the 3 upper sects had been destroyed. This was definitely earth-shattering news. If even the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect had been destroyed, what about them? If they had been in their place, they would have probably been completely annihilated. Hence, after this news spread, All of the major powers were trying to find out who had destroyed the two upper sects. There weren't many possibilities, and those with good eyesight could basically guess who it was. The Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. The Clear Sky Sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect have been destroyed. Ning Fengji's mouth gaped open with shock on his face. Two of the three upper sects had been destroyed. To the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect, which was also one of the three upper sects, they were far more shocked than normal soul masters. The sword Douluo and ghost Douluo in front of Ning Fengji were also extremely shocked. These were no ordinary powers, these were three upper sects. How could they have been destroyed just like that? Fengji, who do you think did it? The bone Douluo asked softly as he recovered from his shock. This matter was very important. If the other party could destroy the Clear Sky Sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect, they could naturally destroy the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect as well. They had to figure out who the mastermind was before they could take precautions. The three upper sects have been in the world of soul masters for many years. They're very powerful. There are only two palaces on the continent that can destroy the Clear Sky Sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect at the same time. The Martial Soul Palace and the Dragon King Hall. Ning Fengji's eyes narrowed as he said plainly, "It can't be the Dragon King Hall. The Dragon King Hall's forces are doing well in Heaven Do Imperial City. They've never been mobilized. The Poison Douluo, Ming Feng Douluo, and the others are often seen in public. Furthermore, we haven't discovered any soul tools in the two upper sects' encampments. Hence, it can't be the Dragon King Hall." The sword Douluo said. "Then it can only be the Martial Soul Palace." The ghost Douluo said. "It has to be the Martial Soul Palace. The Martial Soul Palace's ambitions are clear. They want to unify the world of soul masters and eliminate all obstacles in front of them," Ning Fengji said. "Then I have a question. Why didn't the Martial Soul Palace attack the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect? They definitely have the strength to do so," the ghost Douluo said doubtfully. "It's because the Seven Treasures Glazed Sect and the Dragon King Hall are allies. They're wary of the Dragon King Hall's power. The Dragon King Hall is the only power on the continent that can rival them." The sword Douluo said. "Uncle Jian is right. The Martial Soul Palace wants to eliminate the other powers first. Then, they'll consolidate their strength before engaging in the final battle with the Dragon King Hall. Hence, they didn't attack us because they don't want to pull the Dragon King Hall into the fray." Chapter 871. Otherwise, if the Dragon King Palace joins the fray and joins forces with other forces, it will be quite disadvantageous for them. Ning Fengji analyzed carefully, and his eyes glowed with wisdom. Fengji's words make sense. "What should we do next?" the sword Douluo asked. "Next, we have to contact the Dragon King Palace and fight against the Martial Soul Palace. Without them, we can't do it. As long as they are willing to help, and with the strength of our Seven Treasures Glazed Sect, even the Martial Soul Palace will have nothing to fear," Ning Fengji said. "But will the Dragon King Palace be willing to help?" the sword Douluo asked. "The probability is very high. Isn't the Dragon King Palace at odds with the Martial Soul Palace? Abuchi even humiliated the Pope, so this matter should be successful. However, it's not a small matter. Perhaps I will have to do it personally. The Bright Phoenix Douluo is very cautious, so it's difficult to move her. If only Abuchi is here. With him, things will be much simpler. He is very decisive in his actions, and I'm sure he will be very interested in fighting against the Martial Soul Palace," Ning Fengji said. "That's true. I don't know how much that kid has grown. He was already so strong back then, and I'm afraid he has already caught up to me. I've never seen such a prodigy in my life." The sword Douluo sighed. "Haha, Uncle Sword, such a prodigy is the son-in-law of our Seven Treasures Glazed Sect. Rongrong is really capable," Ning Fengji said with a satisfied smile. "Indeed, Rongrong is now at rank 55, and she is only 16 years old. Although she can't compare to that kid who was at rank 65 at 14 years old, she is still a prodigy." The sword Douluo praised sincerely. "That kid is a freak. Apart from him, our Rongrong should be one of the top prodigies on the continent. Only that kid is worthy of our Rongrong." the ghost Douluo said. Ha ha. Hearing this, Ning Fengji laughed even more happily. Then prepare to visit the bright phoenix Douluo. Oh yes, bring Rongrong and the others too. As Ning Fengji spoke, he rolled his eyes and added another sentence. All right, I'll go and prepare now. Gui Douluo turned and left. Then I'll go find Rongrong and the others, the sword Douluo said as he also strode out of the hall. The martial soul palace wants to cover the sky with one hand. Dream on. Ning Fengji said softly as his eyes sparkled. My lord, your highness. Long Xiaoyaro, Jing Hongchen, and the rest gathered in front of Lu Yuan. The consecrated from the consecration hall were also with them. Ever since Sendriu handed over the consecration hall to Lu Yuan, all of them listened to Lu Yuan's orders. I know what happened to the Supreme Sky Sect. You did a good job. I have some instructions for you. Lu Yuan was dressed in white and had his hands behind his back as he looked at them and said calmly, My lord, please give your orders. Your highness, please give your orders. Everyone said in unison. Next, we have to start the most crucial part of the plan. We have to help Cher ascend to the throne of the Heaven Do Empire and control the entire Heaven Do Empire. This is a plan that the Martial Soul Palace has been planning for a long time. It's also a crucial step to unifying the continent. We can't afford to fail. Gold Crocodile, Qian Jun, Vanquisher, listen up. Yes, my lord. The three of them said at the same time. Right now, Cher only has the Snake Spear Douluo and the Thorny Pufferfish Douluo protecting her. Her defenses are too weak. The three of you will go and protect her. Listen to her every command. If there's anyone or anything that threatens her, kill them on the spot. Lu Yuan said calmly, and a sharp look flashed across his eyes. Yes, my lord. The three of them replied. Long Xiaoyaro, Jing Hongchen, the two of you return to the Dragon King Hall first. Make your preparations so that you can support Shui at any time. At the same time, mobilize the Dragon King Hall's power and eliminate all the powers that oppose Shui. However, be careful when you act. Don't let anyone discover what you're doing. Especially, don't let Dugu Bo and the others sense anything. If they do, imprison Dugu Bo and the others. Don't hurt them. We'll talk about the details when I return. Lu Yuan said. Yes, my lord. Long Xiaoyaro and Jing Hongchen replied. There's one more thing. Ning Fengji won't be able to sit still after the Clear Sky Sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect have been destroyed. He'll definitely contact Uncle Yang in the Dragon King Hall. He wants to stir up some trouble. Inform Uncle Yang to delay them. Tell him that I'll return immediately. Tell him to wait for me, Lu Yuan added. I understand. Long Xiaoyaro replied. All right, thank you for your hard work. I'll return in 3 days. When I do, I'll launch the final coup and turn the situation around. You can leave now, Lu Yuan said in a low voice. Sister, stay for a while. Lu Yuan stopped Ma Xiaodao. Long Xiaoyaro and the others left one by one. Only Lu Yuan, Ma Xiaodao, Jiyu Yuana and the others remained. Do you have anything to tell me, little brother? Little brother. Ma Xiaodao looked at Lu Yuan with her big red eyes and asked in a low voice. I do have something to tell you. Qiu is still in the 7 Treasures glazed sect. I'll have to trouble you to protect her. If I'm not wrong, Ning Fengji should be bringing her back to the Dragon King Hall soon. Although ZG is protecting her, I'm still worried. I'll have to trouble you to add another layer of insurance. Before we subdue Ning Fengji, we have to guard against the 7 Treasures glazed sect. When the time comes, leave Qiu in the Dragon King Hall and protect her. Tell her that it's my orders. Qiu will listen to me. Lu Yuan said gently. I understand. Ma Xiaodao nodded and said. Then I'll leave it to you, sister. Lu Yuan took 2 steps forward and hugged Ma Xiaodao. Don't worry, I'll protect Qiu. Ma Xiaodao said gently. Then go. You have to be careful too. Lu Yuan said. Okay. Ma Xiaodao nodded and looked at Lu Yuan gently. After that, she turned around and left. I'll stay with you for 3 more days. After that, I'll be leaving. After instructing everything, Lu Yuan turned around and looked at Bibidon, Hulena, and the other girls. He chuckled softly. "TSK, as if I care." Hulena pouted and said, "Is that so? I don't know when I'll be back. Are you sure you don't want me to stay with you for the last 3 days?" Lu Yuan said with a smile. "Are you serious? You're really not coming back?" Hulena was a little anxious when she heard Lu Yuan's words. "That's hard to say. I'll have to spend a lot of time helping Cher consolidate her power. Furthermore, Zhu Qing is already at level 62. The trip to the Sea God's Island is also on the agenda. Therefore, I might not be able to come back for long," Lu Yuan said softly. Chapter 872. Just because you don't have time to come back doesn't mean that Nana doesn't have time to see you. Nana, you should go with him this time. In any case, it doesn't matter if you hide your identity or not. Nana can also go to the Sea God's Island. It'll be good for her. Bibidon spoke softly when he heard Lu Yuan's words. "Is that really okay?" Hulena's eyes lit up when she heard Bibidon's words. Her eyes were like the radiance of spring. "Of course she can, but Dong if Nana goes with me, you'll be all alone," Lu Yuan said softly. "That's right. Teacher, I'll stay behind to accompany you," Hulena replied. "Why would I need you to accompany me? Do you really think I'm a weak woman? I'm the Supreme Pontiff of the Martial Soul Palace. I'm much stronger than you think," Bibidon said. "Let Hulena go with you. If you want to see Bibidon, I can tear open space and bring you back to see him." Jiu Yuana, who had been silent all this time, suddenly spoke up. "That's right. I was wrong. I actually forgot about you. Then let's go together." Lu Yuan smiled warmly when he heard Jiu Yuana's words. As soon as he said that, Hulena immediately smiled. Her smile was exceptionally bright. Heaven Do Imperial Palace, Crown Prince Residence. "Grandpa Golden Crocodile, why are you here? Did Grandpa send you here?" Looking at the 3 people in front of her, Qian Renshue's eyes couldn't help but flash a trace of surprise as she asked softly. "No, His Highness the Holy Sun sent us. The head consecrator has already handed the consecration hall to His Highness the Holy Sun. His Highness the Holy Sun sent us to protect the young miss. We'll listen to the young miss orders," Golden Crocodile said. "Grandpa handed the consecration hall to Abuchi? Could the rumors be true? Abuchi really tied with Grandpa?" Chihiro Snow could not help but ask. Yes, that battle could be said to be earth-shattering. In the end, the 2 of them fought until both sides were injured. His Highness the Holy Sun's strength is indeed astonishing. Golden Crocodile sighed. Abuchi is indeed a big freak. His strength has improved so quickly. He can even fight Grandpa to a draw. How amazing. But Grandpa Golden Crocodile, you don't have to keep calling him His Highness. Call me Miss. You can just call us by our names. You watched us grow up, so you're our elder. You don't have to be so polite in the future. I believe Abuchi thinks the same. He once told me that he hates the loneliness of being in a position of power. As his status gets higher, he has fewer and fewer friends and family. Everyone is in awe of him. He doesn't like this feeling. If you're like the others, I'm sure Abuchi will feel very uncomfortable," Chihiro Snow said. "All right then. In the future, I'll call you Abuchi and share in private. But in public, you still have to follow the etiquette," Golden Crocodile said. Okay. Chihiro Snow nodded. This was already a good result. It was indeed the way it should be. By the way, did Abuchi say when he'll be back? Chihiro Snow asked with some concern. She saw Lu Yuan on the 2 days of the engagement. It had been 3 to 4 months since then. She missed Lu Yuan a little. He should be back the day after tomorrow. He said so at that time. Golden Crocodile said. Then let's wait for him to come back. Now that the poison in the Snowy Night Emperor's body has broken out, when Abuchi comes back, he can completely send the Snowy Night Emperor on his way. Chihiro Snow said, a golden flame burning in her golden eyes. What? The 4 single elemental races were also destroyed. Ning Fengji had just gathered some forces after arriving at Heaven Do Imperial City. Just as he was about to go to the Dragon King Palace, he received another piece of bad news. His expression immediately became very ugly. Yes, all of the members of the 4 single elemental races were slaughtered. Even their encampment was burned to the ground. Sword Douluo said coldly. The Martial Soul Palace is getting more and more brazen. No, we have to go to the Dragon King Palace now. Time waits for no one. We have to unite as soon as possible and destroy the Martial Soul Palace's arrogance. Ning Fengji said calmly. His face was as calm as water. The Martial Spirit Palace's actions had given him a lot of pressure. Is His Majesty's condition still that bad? Ning Fengji's eyes flashed. When it rains, it pours. The Martial Soul Palace's actions were getting more and more brazen, but the Snowy Night Emperor just had to collapse at this time. His Majesty's health has always been poor. It's normal for him to collapse now. It's a pity that now is not the time, Sword Douluo said. Normal? I don't think so. I keep feeling that this matter is a little strange, but I can't tell what the problem is. Ning Fengji shook his head and said. Although everything seemed to make sense, he still felt that something was wrong. Fengji, I think you're a little unbalanced because of those things. That's why you feel that everything is wrong. Relax, we still have the advantage. Sword Douluo said. That's right. As long as we can contact the Dragon King Palace, everything will be fine. Let's go to the Dragon King Palace. Don't forget to call Rongrong and the rest. Ning Fengji instructed. Got it, Sword Douluo replied softly. Outside Heaven Do Imperial City, Dragon King Palace. Sect Master Ning, I can't promise you what you said. This is a serious matter. We have to wait for His Majesty to return before we can make a decision. Yang Shaozhe looked at Ning Fengji and shook his head. Your Majesty Ming Feng, the Martial Soul Palace is getting closer and closer. Our alliance cannot be delayed. We don't know when Ibuchi will return. It will be too late by then. Ning Fengji said. Sect Master Ning, don't worry. His Majesty will be back soon. Please wait for 2 days. A voice sounded from outside. It was a pleasant female voice. Ning Fengji and the rest turned around. A fiery red figure appeared in front of them. She had a pretty oval face, and a pair of red eyes that were bright and full of spiritual light. Who else could it be but Ma Xiaodao? Phoenix Douluo? Ning Fengji couldn't help but say when he saw Ma Xiaodao. Sister Xiaodao? Ning Rongrong and Wang Qiu couldn't help but ask. Phoenix Douluo, is Ibuchi really coming back soon? Ning Fengji was stunned for a moment before he quickly reacted. He looked at Ma Xiaodao and asked. Yes, His Majesty will be back soon. It will take about 2 days. Therefore, Sect Master Ning, please wait patiently. Ma Xiaodao said. Chapter 873. Only 2 days. That's good. Ning Fengji heaved a sigh of relief. If it was only 2 days, he could still afford to wait. Oh yes, Sister Xiaodao, aren't you always with Ibuchi? Why are you back first? Where's Ibuchi? Ning Rongrong's lips parted slightly as she asked softly. She couldn't hide the concern in her voice, and her sapphire-like eyes were filled with longing. She hadn't seen Lu Yuan for 2 years, and her longing for him had accumulated to a certain extent. Now that she saw Ma Xiaodao and heard that Lu Yuan was about to return, she couldn't control her longing for him, and felt as if it was about to explode. Master still has some things to deal with, so he'll be back 2 days later. He asked me to come back first to make some preparations. Ma Xiaodao said gently. She and Lu Yuan were already siblings now, and Ning Rongrong was Lu Yuan's fiancé. Therefore, Ma Xiaodao's attitude towards her was a lot friendlier. Master also asked Qiu to stay behind. He wants to see Qiu the moment he returns. Ma Xiaodao looked at Wang Qiu as she spoke. Did brother really say that? Then I'll stay behind. I want to see brother as soon as possible. As Ma Xiaodao finished speaking, Wang Qiu's large, pinkish-blue eyes immediately lit up. She hadn't seen Lu Yuan for 2 years, and she missed him dearly. He was her favorite brother. 2 years had passed, And Wang Qiu'er had grown up a lot. She was 1.75 meters tall, and her figure was slim. Her legs were long and slender, and her face was shockingly beautiful. She exuded a youthful and energetic aura. Ma Xiaodao revealed a faint smile when she heard Wang Qiu'er's words. Lu Yuan was right. Wang Qiu'er would be obedient the moment his name was mentioned. She couldn't be any more obedient. Since Abuchi will be back soon, I'm relieved. The Martial Soul Palace's actions have made me uneasy over the past few days. Ning Fengji sighed softly. Ma Xiaodao and Yang Shaozhe's eyes flashed when they heard that, especially Ma Xiaodao. She had personally participated in the destruction of the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. Moreover, she was very clear about Lu Yuan's plan. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but admire Lu Yuan's wisdom. He had considered almost everything, including Ning Fengji's possible reaction. Everything was within his control. When she saw that Ning Fengji wanted to team up with Lu Yuan to fight against the Martial Soul Palace, she felt an inexplicable sense of joy in her heart. By the way, why didn't I see Elder Dugu today? Ning Fengji relaxed slightly. Only then did he notice that Dugu Bo was not around. Elder Dugu has some things to take care of, so he won't be able to get away for a few days. Sect Master Ning will be able to see him in a few days. A strange glint flashed across Yang Shaozhe's eyes as he spoke with a faint smile. So that's how it is. I was wondering why I didn't see Elder Dugu. Ning Fengji smiled faintly. Looking at the sky outside, Ning Fengji stood up and said, "It's getting late, and I still have some things to do in the afternoon. Since Abuchi will be back in 2 days, I'll come back 2 days later. I'll take my leave now. Take care, Sect Master Ning." Yang Shaozhe also stood up to send him off. Yang Shaozhe walked him all the way to the door before he returned. Teacher. After settling Wang Qiu'er down, Ma Xiaodao returned to the meeting hall and bumped into Yang Shaozhe. Teacher, did you put Elder Dugu under house arrest? Ma Xiaodao immediately thought of something when she saw that Dugu Bo wasn't around. You know that this is Master's order. Dugu Bo's sense of smell is too sharp. Even though we were very discreet when we eliminated the stubborn rebels in the Heaven Do Empire, Dugu Bo still discovered it. To ensure that the plan is carried out perfectly, I could only seal his soul power according to Master's orders and put him under house arrest. Some people from the medicine hall were also imprisoned. There were a total of 63 people, including the sect leader of the 9-star Begonia sect, Yi Lingsu. They were all imprisoned. Right now, Elder Hong Chen is leading the people from the Soul Tool Hall to guard them. Yang Shaozhe said. Teacher, you didn't mistreat them, right? Little brother Lu Yuan said that we're not allowed to humiliate them, and we're not allowed to hurt them either. Everything will be handled by him when he returns. Ma Xiaodao said seriously. Mistreat them? How would I dare to? How would I dare to go against Master's orders? However, what did you call Master just now? Did you call him little brother? Yang Shaozhe furrowed his brow and said, Xiaodao, there's a hierarchy. Even though Master treats you very well, you can't overstep your boundaries. Teacher, you're mistaken. Master acknowledged me as his elder sister. We're siblings now. He's both my master and my younger brother. Ma Xiaodao said. I see. That's a good thing. I wanted you to follow Master because I wanted the two of you to develop your relationship. If you can follow Master, you'll be happy for the rest of your life. Of course, your relationship with Master is not bad. Master is someone who values relationships. Whether it's love or kinship, he treats Holy Lady Qiu'er very well. Now that you've become his elder sister, you'll have someone to rely on. I'm relieved. However, Xiaodao, you must have fallen in love with Master. Yang Shaozhe sighed softly. As soon as he said this, Ma Xiaotao's delicate body suddenly trembled, and her beautiful face was quickly dyed with a blush, delicate and charming. Master doesn't have such thoughts, Ma Xiaodao said softly. I know. With His Majesty's handsome appearance, extraordinary temperament, and incomparable talent, all the women in the world who have seen him will find it hard to forget him. There are even more admirers. However, His Majesty's standards are very high. There are very few who can catch his eye. You're actually not bad. It's just that your personality and identity made it difficult for you to gain his lord's favor from the very beginning. That's why I let you stay by his lord's side. I wanted to create opportunities for you. But now, it seems that the effect wasn't very good. His lord recognized you as his sister because he sensed your thoughts. Yang Shaozhe sighed. Ma Xiaodao was silent for a moment when she heard this. Then, she said, "It's already not bad. I'm satisfied that I can stay by Master's side. I don't ask for too much. It's good enough that I can maintain my relationship with Master, just like Holy Lady Qiu. I'll hide my feelings in my heart. Master doesn't want to find me anymore. If I say it out loud, it'll only add to his troubles. It's rare that you're so self-aware. I've underestimated you." Yang Shaozhe was a little surprised. People have to grow, right? I've also grown a lot by following Master. Ma Xiaodao smiled as she spoke. Chapter 874. The Dragon King Hall. In an underground secret room, rather than a secret room, it was more like an underground fortress. There were many rooms inside, and there was a large hall in the center. Douluo and the rest were here. Although their soul power had been sealed, Yang Shaozhe didn't mistreat them. Instead, he gave them enough freedom to roam around the entire fortress. However, they couldn't leave. Jing Hongchen and many other elite soul masters were guarding the exit of the underground fortress. Their soul power had been sealed, and they couldn't leave. Yang Shaozhe was strolling around the underground fortress with Ma Xiaodao. "Elder Douluo, are you used to it? If you need anything, just tell me. I'll prepare it for you." Yang Shaozhe asked as he looked at Douluo and the rest, who were eating. "Yang Shaozhe, stop being such a hypocrite. I'll remember this debt of privately imprisoning us. When the Hall Master returns, you'll suffer. Do you think that you can hide the truth from the masses just because the Hall Master isn't here?" Douluo's jade-green eyes looked at Yang Shaozhe, and his tone was cold. Hearing this, Yang Shaozhe smiled faintly and said, "I, Yang Shaozhe, am completely loyal to Master. Everything I do is according to Master's instructions. If Elder Douluo is dissatisfied, you can tell Master when the time comes. In any case, Master will be back in 2 days. Are you saying that imprisoning us wasn't your intention, but the Hall Master's? Do you think I'll believe that? The Hall Master has always been generous, and has always been honest with us. I think you're the one who's disloyal, and you want to get rid of your dissidents while the Hall Master isn't around. The Master doesn't like to be in charge. The Dragon King Hall's affairs are managed by you and me. If I'm not around, you'll really be in charge. The Hall Master only returns once in a while. Normally, the Dragon King Hall will be under your control." Douluo said plainly. "Elder Douluo, your imagination is really rich." After hearing Douluo's words, Yang Shaozhe smiled bitterly and shook his head. Why didn't anyone believe him when he was telling the truth? "H, is it because this old man has exposed your scheme and caused you to lose some face? You're such a hypocritical old fox." Douluo cursed as he turned to Ma Xiaodao and said, "Phoenix Douluo, I've always thought that you were the Hall Master's trusted aide, and that you were loyal to him. However, I didn't expect you to be in cahoots with Yang Shaozhe. That's right, the two of you are master and disciple, so it's normal for you to be in cahoots. However, since the Hall Master will be back in 2 days, I would like to see how you will explain to the Hall Master when we are not around. The Hall Master is extremely intelligent and is not easy to fool. Your good days are coming to an end." The corners of Douluo's mouth curled up into a smile. Then, he took 2 big mouthfuls of rice. It was obvious that he was in an extremely good mood. Ma Xiaotao's mouth twitched. She was speechless. The situation was so obvious. All the orders were given by Lu Yuan, but Douluo still refused to believe it. He always thought that they were the ones behind it. This old man's brain circuit was too different from ordinary people. "Teacher, let's go. When Brother Lu Yuan returns, we'll let him deal with this. I don't want to see this old man again. He's as stubborn as a donkey." Ma Xiaodao tugged at Yang Shaozhe's clothes as she spoke softly. "Indeed. However, There's no need to doubt this old man's loyalty to the hall master. I'm afraid that he'll be very shocked when he finds out the truth this time. Yang Shaozhe transmitted his voice to Ma Xiaodao. Brother Lu Yuan's scheme was flawless. He even managed to deceive everyone in the world. However, the only person he let down is this old man. He's really loyal to Brother Lu Yuan. He has also contributed a lot to the Dragon King Hall over the years. Ma Xiaodao also transmitted her voice back. I believe the hall master has his own plans. He has always considered everything. Yang Shaozhe said. Okay. Ma Xiaodao nodded. She naturally believed in Lu Yuan's abilities. She had never doubted them. The two of them chatted softly as they left. Dugu Bo, who was eating, glanced at their backs with a trace of disdain in his eyes. I'll wait to see the hall master's unlucky face when he returns. How dare you imprison this old man? How dare you? Dugu Bo snorted before he continued eating. 2 days later, in the morning, it was 6:45 in the morning. Is everything ready? If you're ready, let's get ready to set off. Lu Yuan held Jiu Yuana's hand with his left hand and Zhu Zhuqing's hand with his right. Hu Lena was lying on his back. Lu Yuan was really surrounded by beauties. Everything is ready, Hu Lena and Zhu Zhuqing said at the same time. Then let's set off. Lu Yuan smiled gently and said, let's begin. Okay. Jiu Yuana nodded. She stretched out her left hand and drew a line in the air. Suddenly, a huge spatial crack appeared in front of them. Dong we'll be going then. Lu Yuan turned his head and looked at Bibi Dong. Go, take care of Nana, and take care of yourself. Bibi Dong said softly. Don't worry, I will. Let's go. Lu Yuan said. He held one in each hand and the other on his back. The four of them stepped into the spatial crack together. A spatial crack appeared in the air and Lu Yuan's group of 4 walked out. After 2 years, I'm finally back. Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh at the familiar surroundings. It had indeed been 2 years since he left Heaven Do Imperial City. Now that he was back, he felt that things were still the same, but people had changed. Let's go, this place isn't far from the Dragon King Hall. Let's go back first. After I settle you all down, I'll have to make a trip to the Imperial Palace. Lu Yuan calmed his mind and looked at the 3 women. Because they didn't want to be seen, they chose a rather hidden location. Therefore, it would take some time to reach the Dragon King Hall. The 4 of them walked slowly and chatted softly. Sigh, this is my first time going to the Dragon King Hall. I want to see what it's like. Hu Lena smiled. It's my first time going there too. Jiu Yuana's gentle voice sounded. Then I'll let Zhuqing show you around later. Lu Yuan smiled as he listened to the 2 girls. Then I'll have to trouble you, Zhuqing. Hu Lena said. No problem, it's just a small matter. Zhu Zhuqing waved her hand and said. It wasn't far, so Lu Yuan's group of 4 quickly arrived at the Dragon King Hall's encampment. The guard was an old man and recognized Lu Yuan. When he saw that Lu Yuan had returned, he hurriedly sent someone to inform Yang Shaozhe and the others. When Lu Yuan's group reached the entrance of the Dragon King Hall, they bumped into Yang Shaozhe and the others who were rushing over. Chapter 875. Greetings, my lord. Yang Shaozhe and the rest hurriedly bowed when they saw Lu Yuan. Rise. Lu Yuan extended his hand and said plainly. Thank you, my lord. Yang Shaozhe and the rest said as they stood up. Have you done what I asked you to do? Lu Yuan looked at them and asked softly. My lord, we've done what you asked us to do. However, Elder Dugu discovered us when we were killing some stubborn people. Hence, we followed your orders and imprisoned Elder Dugu and the rest. Yang Shaozhe said. You didn't hurt them, did you? Lu Yuan asked. No, we only sealed their soul force and locked them up in the underground fortress. We treated them with good food and drinks every day. Yang Shaozhe said. All right, that's good. Lu Yuan nodded gently. My lord, do you want to see Elder Dugu and the rest? Yang Shaozhe asked. There's no hurry. Let's go in first. After a while, I still have to make a trip to the palace. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, "Yes, my lord," Yang Shaozhe said as he stepped aside. Lu Yuan and the rest walked into the main hall of the Dragon King Palace. Lu Yuan sat in the main seat. Jiyu Yuana, Zhu Zhuqing, and the rest stood beside him, while Yang Shaozhe and the rest stood below. This is. Looking at the middle-aged man beside Yang Shaozhe, Lu Yuan's face was filled with curiosity. This was a new face. "My lord, I was about to introduce him to you. This is chess Douluo Bianshu. His martial soul is the black and white chess. His a rank 92 control type titled Douluo. He's only 44 years old this year," Yang Shaozhe said. "Oh, he's so young." Lu Yuan was a little surprised. A 44-year-old titled Douluo. His talent isn't low. Where did they find such a talent? The chess Douluo is a new talent that the Dragon King Palace has recruited. He's very powerful, Yang Shaozhe said. Bian Shu greets the palace master. The moment Yang Shaozhe finished speaking, the chess Douluo immediately bowed to Lu Yuan. "Chess Douluo, you don't have to be so polite. Since he's a titled soul master, let him take over as an elder. Uncle Yang, I'll leave the arrangements to you." Lu Yuan looked at Yang Shaozhe said. "Yes, my lord." Yang Shaozhe acknowledged. "Yes." Lu Yuan acknowledged. He looked around and asked, "Where's Qiu-er?" Qiu-er's here, brother." Lu Yuan tilted his head to look, and Wang Qiu-er's alluring figure appeared before his eyes. Behind her was a fiery red figure. It was Ma Xiaodao. Wang Qiu-er ran as fast as she could, and a gust of wind blew as she leapt into Lu Yuan's arms. "Brother, Qiu-er misses you so much." Wang Qiu-er kissed Lu Yuan's cheek excitedly. After that, she hugged Lu Yuan's neck and sat on Lu Yuan's body. "Brother misses Qiu-er too." Lu Yuan pinched Wang Qiu-er's nose and laughed. "Really?" Wang Qiu-er asked. "Of course it's true." Lu Yuan smiled. "Qiu-er doesn't believe you. It's been 2 years, but you haven't come to see me even once. I'm unhappy." "Brother doesn't miss me at all." Wang Qiu-er pouted and said. "I don't have time. I'm busy. Look, you want to see me the moment you come back." Lu Yuan pinched Wang Qiu-er's cheek and laughed. "I'll forgive you this time. However, you have to spend more time with me in the future. I want to be by your side forever," Wang Qiu-er said softly. Her voice was full of attachment. "All right, I'll spend more time with you," Lu Yuan said dotingly. His sister is so cute and adorable. She's very likable. He only had one sister, so he had to pamper her. "Qiu-er, I haven't seen you in 2 years. I didn't expect you to grow so much," Lu Yuan said with a smile as he sized up Wang Qiu-er. Perhaps it was because of her golden dragon martial soul, but Wang Qiu-er was about 15 years old. However, her figure wasn't inferior to an 18 or 19-year-old girl's. She was developing very quickly. Furthermore, Wang Qiu-er's face was delicate and pretty. All in all, her charm wasn't inferior to Chihiro Snow and the other girls. "Do you like it, brother?" Wang Qiu-er asked. "Ah." Lu Yuan was stunned when he heard this. It was easy for others to misunderstand. However, when he saw Wang Qiu-er's pure, pinkish blue eyes, he couldn't help but scold himself. Wang Qiu-er was very innocent. She didn't have any other intentions. She didn't understand these things. He was overthinking. "Do you like the current Qiu-er?" Wang Qiu-er asked. "I do. I like you no matter what you look like." Lu Yuan's lips curled into a smile as he said gently, "I like you too. I like you a lot." Wang Qiu-er's eyes curved into crescents when she heard Lu Yuan's words. She hugged Lu Yuan's neck tightly. Her voice was as pleasant as silver bells. Lu Yuan smiled and gently caressed Wang Qiu-er's bright, golden hair. The siblings shared their thoughts. Lu Yuan patted Wang Qiu-er's head and said, "Qiu-er, look who that is." Lu Yuan pointed at Jiyu Yuana. "Ah, it's Sister Na." Wang Qiu-er's eyes brightened when she saw Jiyu Yuana. Her eyes were filled with surprise. "I'm standing right here. I didn't expect you to not notice me." Jiyu Yuana sighed. She sounded a little sad. "Qiu-er, Chou only cared about you. Sister Na, don't be angry. After hearing Jiu Yuana's words, Wang Chou lowered her head and spoke pitifully. Go and hug your sister. She won't be angry then. Lu Yuan smiled as he tickled Wang Chou's nose. Okay. Wang Chou acknowledged. After that, she got off Lu Yuan's body and jumped into Jiu Yuana's arms. She gave her a big hug. Jiu Yuana smiled gently and caressed Wang Chou's head. Lu Yuan smiled when he saw how intimate the two of them were. He glanced at Hu Lena and Zhu Zhuqing before he turned to Yang Shaozhe. Uncle Yang, please send someone to tidy up the 2 rooms around my room. Prepare some daily necessities. Na and Na will be staying in the Dragon King Hall from now on. Lu Yuan said. Yes, master. I'll do it properly, Yang Shaozhe said. Okay, I'm not worried about you. All right, there's nothing else here. All of you can leave. Lu Yuan waved his hand and said softly. Yes, master. Yang Shaozhe and the others bowed before they left. Chapter 876. Let's go. Since we still have some time, I'll show you around the Dragon King Hall. I'll be heading to the Imperial Palace soon. Lu Yuan stood up and said to Hu Lena and Jiu Yuana. You're in a hurry to see Chihiro Snow, aren't you? Hu Lena asked. Yes, I haven't seen her in 3 or 4 months. I miss her a lot. I'll bring her along this time so we can get together. You've never been together before. Lu Yuan said softly. You forgot about Rongrong. She has to come too. Zhu Zhuqing was still thinking about her little sister. Rongrong, there's no need to call her. Ningfengji will naturally bring her here. If he knows I'm back, he'll definitely rush over. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Ningfengji was really tricked by you. Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but sigh at Lu Yuan's words. We were just scheming against each other. It was just a matter of who was more skilled. I won, and he didn't lose. I successfully controlled everything, but I was tied down by Rongrong. Fortunately, the result wasn't bad. I achieved the goal I wanted to achieve in the end. Lu Yuan said softly. That's true. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. This was a good result. It was much better than the destruction of the 7 treasures glazed sect. All right, let's cut the crap. We can't waste our precious time. Lu Yuan said softly and led the way. Hu Lena and the others hurriedly followed. After showing the girls around the Dragon King Hall, Lu Yuan gave this task to Zhu Zhuqing and had her continue to lead the way. He, on the other hand, began to rush towards the Heaven Do Imperial Palace. Given Lu Yuan's current speed, if he were to travel at full speed, he could be said to be extremely fast. Golden light flashed and a dragon's roar resounded. In less than an hour, Lu Yuan had arrived at the Imperial Palace. Heaven Do Imperial Palace, Crown Prince residence. It was still the same study. Chihiro Snow leaned against the back of the chair, his left hand gently tapping on the table while his right hand spun a pen leisurely. Didn't Ibuchi say that he would be back today? Why isn't there any news yet? Is it not time yet? Through the window, he looked at the sky outside. At this time, the sky was bright and the sun was shining brightly. It was already 9 in the morning. After a while, it would be time for lunch. It was already late. Or has this guy come back and is so happy in the Dragon King Palace that he forgot about me? Chihiro Snow's golden eyes blinked, and there was a hint of resentment in his voice. I can forget anyone, but I can't forget my share. A chuckle sounded in the study, causing Chihiro Snow's eyes to sharpen. However, when she sensed the familiarity of the voice, she lowered her guard again. Her golden eyes glanced sideways, and there Lu Yuan's figure appeared. Share. Lu Yuan opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he was interrupted by Chihiro Snow halfway through. Bastard, every time you appear, you come and go like a ghost. Are you trying to scare me to death? Chihiro Snow glared at Lu Yuan, but there was a trace of a smile hidden deep in her watery golden eyes. She was actually very happy to see Lu Yuan. After being preempted by Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be stunned. Did Cher eat gunpowder today? She wasn't like this before. Why is she so angry today? What are you waiting for? Come over here. Do you like to stand? Chihiro Snow said indifferently. This time, Lu Yuan reacted. He stared at Chihiro Snow for a while, then smiled faintly. He took 2 steps forward and picked Chihiro Snow up by the waist. He sat down on the chair and put Chihiro Snow on his lap. He removed Chihiro Snow's disguise and kissed her red lips. A quarter of an hour later, Chihiro Snow lay in Lu Yuan's arms obediently. Her expression was calm and gentle, and there was no trace of her previous anger. Did you miss me? Lu Yuan twirled a strand of Chihiro Snow's long golden hair and played with it. He looked at her jade-like face and asked softly, "What do you think? Heartless stinky man, you only know how to accompany them, but the time you spent with me is so short." Chihiro Snow complained in a low voice. "I will accompany you for a period of time," Lu Yuan said softly. Next, he had to prepare for Chihiro Snow's ascension to the throne and help her consolidate her power. It would take a long time, so he could accompany her all the time. That's more like it," Chihiro Snow snorted and snuggled a little tighter in Lu Yuan's arms. "When did you come back?" Chihiro Snow looked up at Lu Yuan and asked in a low voice. "I just came back. After I brought senior sister Zhu Qing and the others back to the Dragon King Palace, I immediately came here. I knew that you must be waiting for me." Lu Yuan smiled warmly. At least you have some conscience." Chihiro Snow's lips curved slightly. She was very happy that Lu Yuan remembered her and cared about her. "How is the situation in the court?" Lu Yuan asked as he looked at Chihiro Snow. Private matters had to be discussed, but official matters could not be delayed. This matter was related to the Martial Soul Palace's grand plan. Although he did not like to be in charge, he still had to pay attention at this time. "It's very good. I have killed a large number of the ministers who were my enemies in the past few years. The rest were killed by your subordinates. Now, in the entire court, except for a few neutral ministers, the rest support me," Chihiro Snow said. "You really killed them all? What about Avalanche? What about Prince Xuexing?" Lu Yuan asked. "They are all still here, but now Prince Xuexing supports me. As for Avalanche, he is very obedient and did not cause any trouble," Chihiro Snow said softly. "Even so, he has to be killed. In order to carry out the plan and completely destroy the hopes of the royalists and even the neutral factions, the Heaven Do imperial family can only have one prince, Xuexing. The other male members of the imperial family have to be killed. In this way, even if they have any ideas, it will be useless," Lu Yuan said sternly. "Won't this cause too much of a commotion? People will be suspicious. For example, those neutral factions may cause some trouble." Chihiro Snow frowned slightly and said softly, "Isn't it fine if we arrange it cleverly? For example, Avalanche tried to usurp the throne. Prince Xuexing discovered and stopped him, but he was killed. We only need one reason. So what if some people are suspicious? When the time comes, what can they change? You're now the crown prince. It's only logical for you to succeed the throne. It's the most legitimate thing to do. Moreover, the army is already under your control. Our current strength is enough to suppress anyone who disagrees. If anyone wants to cause trouble, then kill them. Kill them until no one dares to oppose. This can also establish your prestige. After all, you have just ascended the throne and need to establish your prestige. There is nothing more frightening than fresh blood," Lu Yuan said faintly. His tone was filled with murderous intent. Chapter 877. Abuchi, why are you so murderous now? Did you get addicted to killing after staying in Slaughter City for a year and a half and leading a team to exterminate the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow blinked her beautiful eyes and spoke with a trace of a smile. Lu Yuan's change was indeed a little big. In the past, he was also decisive and daring, but he was never as straightforward and ruthless as he was now. In the past, he liked to do things in a roundabout way, but now, he was straightforward and cut the Gordian knot. He did things in a simple way. Addicted to killing? Not really, but after seeing so much killing, I won't be lenient when it comes to killing. In Slaughter City, human life is the most worthless. Seeing so many people die in front of my eyes every day, I'm already numb to it. I'm still fine, my mental power is high, so I'm not affected much. However, it's been 4 or 5 months since she came out. The killing intent still has some effect on her. Slaughter City is indeed a place to sharpen people, but it's too cruel. Lu Yuan said in a serious tone. You and Helena have been together for more than a year in Slaughter City. Although you have to see a lot of cruelty and bloodshed every day, you can be together every day. Isn't that a kind of happiness? If possible, I even hope that the person accompanying you to Slaughter City is me. Chihiro Snow said softly. There was a trace of envy in her eyes. To be able to enjoy a peaceful time with Lu Yuan for a year and a half, how happy would that be? Hearing Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan's heart trembled. He couldn't help but call out softly, Share. I'll accompany you more in the future. When the continent is unified, I'll accompany you every day. Lu Yuan said affectionately. Accompany me every day? Then what about Zhu Zhuqing, Helena, and the others? Chihiro Snow asked. Together, Lu Yuan said. Together? You still want to sleep together, right? Chihiro Snow sneered. It wasn't like this guy hadn't done such a thing before. Who said that? I've never thought of it that way. But if you guys are willing, that would be even better. Hee. Lu Yuan chuckled. It was his ultimate dream to sleep under the same blanket as everyone else. I knew that a stinky man like you was hiding such dirty thoughts in your heart. Chihiro Snow curled his lips and said with a hint of disdain. Indeed, it was easier to change mountains and rivers than to change one's nature. It's all my fault. If you guys could fight a little more and take care of me on your own, would I need you guys to help me? Lu Yuan said indifferently. You. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow was furious. She pointed at Lu Yuan, unable to say anything. You what? Am I lying? Lu Yuan said calmly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow fell silent. Although he was so angry that he wanted to beat someone up, he had to admit that this bastard was telling the truth. They were indeed too disappointing and couldn't tame this man. Hehe, how is it? My share has nothing to say. Seeing that Chihiro Snow was silent, Lu Yuan moved in front of her and chuckled. Get lost, your face is getting more and more annoying. Chihiro Snow reprimanded. Is that so? I saw that you seemed to like it just now. You couldn't take your eyes off it. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Chihiro Snow, Chen Runshua looked at Lu Yuan angrily for a long time before she said with a hint of grievance in her tone, just continue to piss me off. Piss me off to death. Are you really angry? Seeing Chihiro Snow's aggrieved look, Lu Yuan's heart skipped a beat. He moved forward and asked softly. Me. Chihiro Snow snorted and turned her head to the side. Okay, don't be angry. It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Look at how angry my share is. I deserve to be beaten. Lu Yuan gently slapped his face and said with a smile. You only admit your mistakes, but you never change them. Chihiro Snow snorted again and turned her head. Her golden eyes stared fiercely at Lu Yuan. I'll bite you to death. Looking at Lu Yuan's neck, Chihiro Snow bit down. Does it still hurt? Holding Chihiro Snow's hand and walking on the road, Lu Yuan asked with concern. When this girl got anxious, she actually forgot that he had copper skin and iron bones, which made him invulnerable. When she bit him, not only did he not do anything to her, she even hurt herself. With the esoteric character, it's fine. But your skin is really hard and thick. Chihiro Snow said in a low voice. What about the resentment? Lu Yuan asked softly. What do you think? Chihiro Snow glanced at Lu Yuan. Seeing this, Lu Yuan smiled bitterly. If he knew Chihiro Snow's temper was so bad, he wouldn't have teased her. In the end, the resentment was still there. He really found trouble for himself. Okay, stop smiling bitterly. It's ugly. Chihiro Snow said. Hearing this, Lu Yuan was speechless. With his face, let alone smiling bitterly, even if he made a strange expression, it wouldn't be ugly. This girl was still angry. It's a pity that it's daytime now. In the afternoon, I still have to meet Ning Fengji. Otherwise, no matter how angry she is, it'll be gone after a good night's sleep. Unfortunately, the timing is not good. Lu Yuan muttered secretly. What are you muttering about? Chihiro Snow's beautiful eyes looked at Lu Yuan. Nothing, I'm just saying that my share is really too beautiful. Lu Yuan laughed. Who would believe you? Chihiro Snow curled her lips, but a smile flashed in her eyes. There was no woman who didn't like it when a man praised her beauty, not to mention when the man she loved said it. Chihiro Snow actually wasn't angry anymore. She was just pretending. Because of this, Lu Yuan would try to coax her, and she liked this feeling very much. I'm going to meet Ning Fengji in the afternoon. I'm going to make everything clear. It's time to conquer the 7 treasures glazed sect. With their support, it'll be easier for you to stabilize your regime. Pinching Chihiro Snow's little hand, Lu Yuan said softly. With the support of the 7 treasures glazed sect and the Dragon King Palace, plus the military power that Chihiro Snow had obtained, her position as the emperor would be unshakable. Well, you can decide on these things. Chihiro Snow nodded and said. When it came to business, Chihiro Snow's temper was immediately thrown aside. Like Lu Yuan, she was also a person who could adjust her state between business and private affairs at will. Well, leave it to me, Lu Yuan said softly, holding Chihiro Snow's hand and continued to walk forward. The two of them were very fast. When they arrived at the Dragon King Palace, it was just noon. Share, let's go and eat. They're all waiting for you. Lu Yuan smiled gently and pulled Chihiro Snow in the direction of the restaurant. At this time, the chefs of the Dragon King Palace had already prepared a sumptuous meal. Jiyu Yuana and others were waiting for Lu Yuan to come back. Chapter 878. Oh, our palace master Lu is back. As soon as Lu Yuan pulled Chen Renshua through the door, the sharp-eyed Huliana immediately noticed them. She immediately let out a soft voice. You're back so quickly? We thought we'd have to wait for a while. Zhu swept her gaze toward Lu Yuan as she spoke in a cold voice. I chatted with Cher for a while before coming back, so of course I came back quickly, Lu Yuan replied. That's strange, you didn't do anything bad. Huliana turned to Lu Yuan with a surprised look on her face. Lu Yuan's expression darkened slightly upon hearing Huliana's words, and he put on a righteous expression as he asked, Am I that impatient? He had completely forgotten what he was thinking on the way here. Only you know whether you're impatient or not, Huliana said as she pursed her lips in an indifferent manner. How could she not know what kind of person he was? He was very protective of them, and he was very considerate of their feelings, but it would be a lie to say that he was completely unperturbed. As long as there was an opportunity, he would definitely take advantage of them. He hadn't done anything bad today, and it was most likely because he didn't have enough time. Otherwise, it would be strange if he was able to hold himself back after not seeing Chihiro Snow for 3 to 4 months. It had to be said that after spending so much time together in the capital of slaughter for over a year, Huliana's understanding of Lu Yuan had reached a whole new level. Huliana is right. Weren't you already impatient the night we returned from the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect? Jiyu Yuana chimed in. Enea, why have you become so naughty as well? A wry smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face upon hearing Jiyu Yuana's words. Even though Bibidon was the one who took the initiative that night, there was no way he could tell them. Bibidon had mustered up a huge amount of courage to do what he did that night, and he had completely given himself to Lu Yuan, so he had to take responsibility. Even to Jiyu Yuana and the others, he could only say that he was the one who took the initiative. This was his responsibility as a man. What do you mean by learning bad things from me? Stinky Abuchi, you're slandering me, do you know that? It's clearly your fault, yet you're blaming us. Huliana pouted and said. Yes, it's all my fault. Madams, can you be magnanimous and let your husband off? Lu Yuan shrugged and said helplessly. Who's your wife? Aren't you ashamed? As soon as Lu Yuan said this, Huliana and the other 2 girls blushed. Although their relationship with Lu Yuan couldn't be any more intimate, It was still the first time that Lu Yuan called them madam. One by one, they couldn't stand it anymore. But apart from being shy, they couldn't help but feel a little happy. You're already engaged to me, so you're mine for the rest of your lives. What's wrong with calling you madam? This day will come sooner or later. Lu Yuan looked at Helena and Zhu Zhuqing as he spoke. After that, he turned to Jiu Yuana and said, as for Na, let's find a time to get engaged. What do you think? Lu Yuan's gaze was very gentle and full of love, and Jiu Yuana couldn't help but feel a little touched. How about we do it in the Icefire Yin-Yang Well? Or we can go to the Great Star Do Forest, Lu Yuan suggested. All of the women here knew that Jiu Yuana was the goddess who protected the Great Star Do Forest, so it wasn't a big deal for them to say it out loud. You can decide. I have no objections, Jiu Yuana said softly with a blush on her face. Then let's get engaged in the Icefire Yin-Yang Well and get married in the Great Star Do Forest. I hope you can receive the blessings of all of your friends and family. Lu Yuan thought for a moment before speaking. Yes. Jiu Yuana nodded. Her purple eyes rippled slightly, and a sense of immense happiness welled up in her heart. All right, don't just stand there. Take a seat. It's rare for all of you to gather together, so let's have a good meal together. The luckiest thing in my life was meeting all of you. My greatest wish is to live happily with all of you, so I hope all of you can get along well. Share, the two of you had some unhappiness in the past, but I hope the two of you can forget about it, alright? Lu Yuan turned to Jiu Yuana and Chihiro Snow. Jiu Yuana had wanted to kill Chihiro Snow in the Misty Forest, and if it weren't for Lu Yuan's pleas, Chihiro Snow would have most likely been killed. That was the first time in his life that Lu Yuan had ever begged someone. Furthermore, no matter how magnanimous Chihiro Snow was, she was still feeling a little uneasy about that incident. After all, someone had tried to kill her, so how could she be completely indifferent? After all, no one was a saint. Hence, this conflict between the two of them had to be resolved. She couldn't keep it in her heart. Otherwise, it could easily cause harm as time passed. Jiu Yuana's heart softened at the sight of Lu Yuan's hopeful eyes, and she apologized to Chihiro Snow. I was wrong back then, and I apologize to you. She appeared gentle on the outside, but she was actually very arrogant and stubborn on the inside. She was willing to apologize to Chihiro Snow because she loved Lu Yuan to the core, and that was why she was willing to take a step back for him. Chihiro Snow was the same. After hearing Jiu Yuana's apology, she didn't harp on it. Instead, she expressed her understanding. It's all right, I've already forgotten about what happened back then. Chihiro Snow smiled faintly. Good, good. Listening to the words of the two, Lu Yuan couldn't help but reveal a happy smile. At the same time, he was also quite moved. He remembered the concessions that the two women made for him. With such a wife, what more could a husband ask for? In the future, he must double his love for them. Okay, let's eat. The dishes will get cold in a while. After pulling the two women to sit down, Lu Yuan began to greet the women to eat. With the efforts of Lu Yuan, the group of people finished the lunch while talking and laughing. After lunch, Zhu Zhuqing took Helena and Jiu Yuana to see their room that had been tidied up, while Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow sat together and drank tea leisurely. The clear spirit tea of the Dragon King Palace was fragrant and elegant. It could eliminate fatigue and make people feel refreshed. It was very popular and sold well in the market. Even Lu Yuan himself was quite fond of this kind of tea. When he had nothing to do, he liked to make a cup of it. It seems that Jiu Yuana loves you very much. As a god, she is actually willing to apologize to me for you. It's rare. Chihiro Snow took a sip of tea and said with a chuckle, "Nao is really good. I often think that if the first person I met was not you, but her, maybe I would love her as much as I love you." Lu Yuan sighed softly. But you still love her now, don't you? You still can't extricate yourself? Chihiro Snow said. That's true. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He loved her so much that he couldn't extricate himself. What if it was superfluous? Chapter 879. But speaking of gods, share, if you can ascend to the throne of the Heaven Do Empire and control the entire Heaven Do, then our fourth test will be completed. Lu Yuan took a sip of tea and said softly, "Yes, but it doesn't feel like the fourth test is that difficult," Chihiro Snow said. "That's because we've prepared too much in advance. When everything is ready, everything will naturally go much smoother," Lu Yuan said faintly. "You're right." Chihiro Snow smiled softly. For this matter, she and Lu Yuan had been planning for a few years. Until today, they had spent a lot of effort. If things didn't go smoothly, then wouldn't all these years have been wasted? Therefore, although the fourth test seemed simple, they had been working hard for it for too long. After the fourth test is over, the fifth test should slowly start. I don't know what kind of test it will be. Now that my strength has increased greatly, I don't know if the test's difficulty will increase. Lu Yuan said thoughtfully. "Abuchi, what's your rank now?" Chihiro Snow asked curiously. Lu Yuan's combat power was on par with Sendryu's, but she didn't know his specific rank. "Only one rank higher than you, rank 77. Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. "You've finally surpassed me." Chihiro Snow sighed softly. In the past, Lu Yuan's combat power had surpassed hers, but now even his soul power had surpassed hers. She was 6 years older than Lu Yuan. She was already 22 years old this year, but she was only rank 76. Lu Yuan was only 2 months behind, but now he was rank 77. Moreover, she was innate rank 20 with full soul power. In comparison, her cultivation talent was really too lacking compared to Lu Yuan's. If this continued, she was afraid that she wouldn't even be able to see Lu Yuan's back. "Share, you're still the same. You always want to compete with me." Lu Yuan sighed softly. He held Chihiro Snow's hand and gently pulled her delicate body into his arms. He said, "I'm different from you. You just have to take the divine test step by step and accept the inheritance in the end. You can immediately become a god. But I'm different. I have to create my own divine position and completely comprehend the clear air divine seed to become a god. Maybe when you become a god in the future, I'll still be a titled Douluo. How is your comprehension of the clear air god seed?" Chihiro Snow asked with concern. She knew that Lu Yuan was proud and didn't want to inherit other people's god positions. Otherwise, with Lu Yuan's talent, he could get any god's inheritance. But it was hard to say if he could create his own divine position. Even with Lu Yuan's talent, it would take a long time. "My comprehension is not bad, especially the sea god's vast ocean power, the angel's holy power, and the Azura's order power. I found that these gods' origin divine powers are very helpful to my comprehension of the clear air divine seed. I've already comprehended something now." Lu Yuan smiled softly. The clear air divine seed contained the power of rules. The power of rules controlled all things. Perhaps, it could also be used to deduce the mysteries of the power of rules from all things. Of course, the ordinary power of all things might be useless, but those special powers of all things might be very useful. In particular, each god's divine power had a special attribute. It had a miraculous effect on the comprehension of the clear air divine seed. God's origin divine power? But this kind of thing is hard to find, Chihiro Snow murmured. "It's hard to find, but it's not impossible to find." Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He knew of many special powers of all things. For example, Jiu Yuana had the dragon god's power of creation. He had the power of destruction from the golden dragon's bloodline. Wang Qiu had the power of destiny. Bibidon had the power of Rakshasa. There was also the power of ice and fire from the Icefire Yin-Yang Well and the power of ice and fire from the Waterfire Dragon King. It was quite a lot, but he couldn't bite off more than he could chew. He was currently comprehending the order power in the killer god domain. It was a pity that the order power in the killer god domain was still too weak. He had comprehended it for a long time, but he didn't gain much. "It seems like I still have to make a trip to the capital of Massacre. I'll kill Tang Chen along the way and snatch the Azura inheritance. With the Azura inheritance, I'll definitely be able to comprehend the order power better. But I'm not in a hurry now. I'll wait until the continent is unified." I can't beat Tang Chen now if I don't use the god-slaying spear. Furthermore, the killer god domain hasn't reached the 4th stage. I still need time. Lu Yuan thought to himself. It seems like you already have your own plans, Chihiro Snow said softly as she looked at Lu Yuan. That's natural. This is related to the godly position. How can I not be concerned? We can only be together forever when we become gods. Lu Yuan smiled and said. Chihiro Snow grabbed Lu Yuan's mischievous right hand and said angrily, That's true, but can your hand be more honest? Hee, I can't. Come, share. Let me check and see if you've grown a little. Lu Yuan laughed evilly and started his little actions again. You, rogue. Chihiro Snow blushed, but she didn't continue to stop him. She let Lu Yuan take advantage of her. Hey! Someone's coming? Suddenly, Lu Yuan's ears twitched slightly. His senses were very sensitive. Although the footsteps were soft, he heard them completely. Someone's coming? Chihiro Snow quickly broke free from Lu Yuan's embrace when she heard Lu Yuan's words. She didn't want to be too intimate with Lu Yuan when there was someone around. She was still very thin-skinned. Lu Yuan didn't stop her. He let her sit beside him, but he still held her hand. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Finally, a figure appeared in front of the two of them. It was Yang Shaozhe. Uncle Yang, what's the matter? Lu Yuan asked faintly. Master, Sect Master Ning of the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect has come to visit. He's waiting in the main hall, Yang Shaozhe said. Why is he in such a hurry? He just finished his lunch. Lu Yuan muttered softly. Then, he said to Yang Shaozhe, bring him to the guest room. Also, call Elder Long and the others. I'll be there in a while. Yes, Master, Yang Shaozhe responded, then turned and left. Ning Fengji, that old fox, didn't come earlier or later. Why did he have to come at this time? Seriously. Lu Yuan's words carried a trace of resentment. He and Chihiro Snow were being intimate. He really didn't know how to pick a time to come. Alright, don't be angry. If you want to be a rogue, you have plenty of time at night. Now, business is more important. Chihiro Snow first rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan, then persuaded softly. That's true. Let's subdue the 7 Treasures Glazed Sect first. Chapter 880. Oh yes, share, Grandpa Golden Crocodile and the rest are following you in secret, right? Lu Yuan asked softly as he looked at Chihiro Snow. Yes, you were the one who arranged for them to be by my side. Chihiro Snow nodded and replied. That's good. Let them show themselves this time. How dare they disturb me? I have to give Ning Fengji a good scare. Grandpa Golden Crocodile and Qianjun Demon Subduing Snake Spear Thorny Pufferfish make a total of 5 titled Douluo. In addition to Elder Long, Uncle Yang, Sister Xiaodao, Elder Hong Chen, Ziji, Elder Wang Qi, and the Daotai Douluo, Elder Xian, who rushed back from the Star Luo Empire, we have a total of 12 titled Douluo. When we unleash our auras, Ning Fengji's expression will be very interesting. Lu Yuan chuckled. You're too evil. However, Ning Fengji is only a soul sage, and an auxiliary type one at that. With so many titled Douluo unleashing their auras at the same time, I'm afraid he'll explode and die. It doesn't matter if he dies. I'm just afraid that your sister Rongrong will hate you for the rest of her life. Chihiro Snow said with a half-smile. That's true. Then we won't unleash our auras. Letting them all stand out will be a huge deterrent. We don't have to worry about Ning Fengji not giving in. As for Rongrong, Lu Yuan paused and said, I won't hurt her. I'll do my best to make it up to her. Furthermore, she doesn't have any feelings for the Heaven Do Empire or the other sects. As long as I don't touch Ning Fengji, she should be fine. It's just that I've hidden my true identity from her for so long. She might not be able to accept it so soon. It's all right. As long as you coax her, everything will be fine. Aren't you the best at this? Chihiro Snow chuckled as he spoke. Lu Yuan's mouth twitched when he heard this. He couldn't rebut. Let's go and see that old fox Ning Fengji. After a moment of silence, Lu Yuan held Chihiro Snow's hand and walked out of the door. Reception room. Ning Fengji, Ning Rongrong, and the sword Douluo were waiting. Perhaps it was because they were very anxious, but they didn't take a seat. Instead, they stood on the spot and looked toward the entrance of the reception room. Ning Rongrong, in particular, clenched her hands tightly and placed them on her chest. Her sapphire-like eyes stared unblinkingly at the door of the reception room, full of anticipation and longing. Bright Phoenix Douluo, when exactly is Abuchi coming? Ning Fengji looked at Yang Shaozhe and asked again. He had been in the reception room for a while, but Lu Yuan hadn't appeared yet. Master is on his way here. Sect Master Ning, don't be impatient. It will only take a while. Yang Shaozhe said. Yes, but did something happen today? His Majesty Dragon Emperor and the others are all here. Ning Fengji asked curiously as he looked at the six-titled Douluo on the other side of the guest room. It's nothing. It's just that Sect Master Ning came to visit, and Master specifically ordered them all to be present. Yang Shaozhe said. Oh. Ning Fengji couldn't help but be curious when he heard this. What is Lu Yuan thinking? Does he want to take control of the alliance? Is that why he wants to use force to intimidate us? However, this seems to be unnecessary. From the start, he didn't want the Seven Treasures Glazed sect to take control of the alliance. Abuchi must be overthinking. Come to think of it, the fact that 7 titled Douluo were gathered together was quite intimidating. In particular, there were 99 Ultimate Douluo and rank 98 Peak Stage Douluo among them. That was even more astonishing. However, only with such strength and the strength of their soul tools could they compete with the martial Soul Palace. Ning Fengji thought to himself. Ta, ta, ta. Just as Ning Fengji was thinking to himself, footsteps sounded from outside the door. Following this, 2 figures appeared in front of everyone. The man was handsome, while the woman was beautiful. They were Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow. Master, Hall Master. Once Lu Yuan stepped into the guest room, Long Xiaoyao and the rest immediately bowed. Lu Yuan waved his hand and gestured for everyone to rise. After that, he turned to Ning Fengji. Uncle Ning, long time no see. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Indeed, it has been a long time. Ning Fengji sighed as he looked at Lu Yuan. 2 years had passed. Lu Yuan had become even more brilliant, and the Dragon King Hall had also become stronger. Originally, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect wasn't as strong as the Dragon King Hall, but they were still on the same level. However, the Dragon King Hall had already left the 7 Treasures Glazed sect in the dust. Now that he saw Lu Yuan, Ning Fengji couldn't help but sigh. If the Dragon King Hall and the 7 Treasures Glazed sect had normal dealings in the past, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect had completely become dependent on the Dragon King Hall now. Without the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, the Dragon King Hall would still be a superpower that could be compared to the martial Soul Palace. However, without the soul tools provided by the Dragon King Hall, the 7 Treasures Glazed sect would return to how it was before it was liberated, and its strength would be greatly reduced. The status of both parties had already changed. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Ning Fengji was thinking. After greeting Ning Fengji, his gaze shifted to Ning Rongrong, who had been staring at him ever since he entered the room. Ning Rongrong's sapphire-like eyes stared straight at him. Her eyes were slightly red, and they were filled with intense longing and love. As he looked at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan smiled. After that, he opened his arms and hugged her. Seeing this scene, Ning Rongrong could no longer hold back the emotions in her heart. She quickly ran forward and crashed into Lu Yuan's arms with a gust of fragrant wind. Lu Yuan's hands moved down slightly and hugged Ning Rongrong's delicate waist. Rongrong, you. As he looked at Ning Rongrong's pretty face, Lu Yuan opened his mouth. Just as he was about to speak, Ning Rongrong suddenly tiptoed and pressed her red lips against Lu Yuan's, stopping him from continuing. Lu Yuan was first stunned by Ning Rongrong's sudden attack, but he quickly reacted. He lowered his head slightly and started to respond passionately. The two of them completely ignored everyone in the room. As he watched the two of them passionately kissing, Chihiro Snow shook his head helplessly and walked to one side. The two of them were really daring. If it were her, the most she could accept when there were outsiders around was a hug. Unlike these two, one of them was as thick-skinned as a city wall, while the other was like a little witch. She did whatever she wanted, and didn't care about how others looked at her. When their feelings came together, it was really a mess. Ahem. Seeing their lord and their future mistress passionately kissing, everyone in the Dragon King Palace couldn't help but look away. Only Ma Xiaodao was still watching with interest. The corner of Ning Fengji's mouth twitched. However, he sighed softly after that. Chapter 881. No one knew better than him how much Ning Rongrong missed Lu Yuan. Although his daughter had a bad personality and loved to cause trouble, she was also extremely stubborn when it came to relationships. Ever since she met Lu Yuan once at the Heaven Do Imperial Academy, she had fallen deeply in love with him and couldn't extricate herself. Letting this girl chase after Lu Yuan was partly for the sake of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, but also for the sake of this girl. He also wanted this girl to be able to find her own happiness. Fortunately, this girl still lived up to his expectations. She successfully chased after Lu Yuan and even got engaged. So at this moment, seeing Ning Rongrong and Lu Yuan kissing passionately, although he felt a little strange, he didn't feel disgusted in his heart. Instead, he was very supportive. This was a sign of their deep love for each other. Moreover, they were fiancés. What was wrong with kissing? Even if they slept together, he didn't mind. He, Ning Fengji, was also a very open-minded person. Lu Yuan naturally didn't know what Ning Fengji and the others were thinking, and he didn't care. He could feel Ning Rongrong's fiery passion, so all he could do was respond to Ning Rongrong's feelings. As for what others thought, it had nothing to do with him. The two kissed to their heart's content. When they kissed until they were a little out of breath, they took a breath and continued kissing. It wasn't until a long time later that the two slowly separated. Lu Yuan's face was still calm, but Ning Rongrong's little face was flushed. She was a little short of breath, but her pair of bright sapphire-like eyes were fixed on Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan looked at her while gently patting her back to help her adjust her breathing. Soon, her breathing became calm again. "Why, do you still want to kiss me?" Lu Yuan looked down at her with a smile at the corner of his mouth. Ning Rongrong was different from his other girlfriends. Although the little witch's character was not likable, he liked her boldness and decisiveness in love very much. Therefore, he had always asked Ning Rongrong to restrain herself a little, but he did not intend to completely erase her little witch character. Every girl had to have her own little personality to be more charming. If everyone was submissive and obedient, it would be meaningless. After all, he was looking for a wife, not a subordinate. He admitted that he didn't have a good impression of Ning Rongrong at first, but as time went by, Ning Rongrong's affection for him slowly moved him. Until now, he had indeed fallen in love with this girl. "Yes, I can't get enough of kissing you for a lifetime." Ning Rongrong looked at Lu Yuan, her heart full of undisguised love. Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile faintly. In terms of boldness and directness in love, perhaps only Lena could compare with Ning Rongrong. On the other hand, although Chihiro Snow and Zhu Zhuqing were equally passionate in their hearts, they were more shy on the outside. "Did you miss me?" Lu Yuan asked in a low voice, lowering his head slightly. The tips of their noses touched and their breaths touched. Lu Yuan could clearly smell the sweet scent from Ning Rongrong's body. "Yes, I miss you every day. I miss you very much. Even in my dreams, I see your shadow," Ning Rongrong said softly, her tone full of deep affection. "Then from today onwards, don't go back. Stay by my side and let me take care of you in the future." Lu Yuan said softly, "I also want to stay by your side, but what about the Seven Treasures Glazed sect?" Ning Rongrong asked softly. She was the young sect master of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect and would be in charge of it in the future. "Just let Uncle Ning take care of it. Anyway, he is in his prime and has many days to live. Even if he doesn't have long to live, I have the latest green life returning pill here. One pill can extend one's life by 20 years. When the time comes, just give him 2 pills. I guarantee that he will live a few more decades. As for you, Just stay by my side and give birth to my children. Lu Yuan laughed softly. Hearing this, the corner of Ning Fengji's mouth twitched slightly. So he wanted him to work hard for the rest of his life. Even extending his life was to let him continue to work. However, if he could really live for a few more decades, it was not impossible. Ning Fengji rubbed his chin with his fingers and thought to himself. Ning Rongrong's cheeks were also slightly red. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, even she was a little shy. However, after the shyness, her heart was filled with joy. If she could give birth to Lu Yuan's children, it would really be a very happy thing. Abuchi, I am already 16. Ning Rongrong's voice was as soft as a mosquito's buzzing. I know. Don't worry, I will eat you soon. Lu Yuan moved closer to Ning Rongrong's ear and whispered. Ning Rongrong's delicate body suddenly trembled and her pair of big eyes became a little brighter. Lu Yuan smiled faintly and gave Ning Rongrong a peck on the lips. Then, he pulled her towards a table not far away. Lu Yuan sat down at the head of the table, Chihiro Snow sat to his right, and Ning Rongrong was forced to sit to his left. Uncle Ning, please take a seat. Elders, please find a place to sit as well. Lu Yuan's clear voice sounded. After Lu Yuan's voice fell, everyone took their seats. After that, the maids served him tea. Lu Yuan's right hand lightly tapped on the table as he looked at Ning Fengji and asked indifferently, Uncle Ning, why did you come to find me in such a hurry? Now, you may speak. Ning Fengji took a light breath and said, Abuchi, I believe you already know about the Clear Sky Sect and Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect being destroyed. I do know about it. So what if the Clear Sky Sect and Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect are destroyed? It's just a small matter. Why do you care? Lu Yuan took a sip of tea and said indifferently, Abuchi, this is not a small matter. The Clear Sky Sect and Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect are the top 3 sects. They have great influence. Now that they are destroyed, the situation of the entire world of Soul Masters has changed greatly. The Martial Soul Palace attacked them because they want to unify the world of Soul Masters. In the future, they might attack us again. We have to be careful. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong, who was sitting beside Lu Yuan, hurriedly said, Oh, when did my Rongrong know about these things? It seems like you've grown a lot in the past 2 years. Lu Yuan squeezed Ning Rongrong's small hand and said with a little surprise, It's all because father taught me well. Ning Rongrong said softly, but there was a smile on her face. She was really happy to be praised by Lu Yuan like this. So it was Uncle Ning who taught you. I was wondering why you've improved so much. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed and he smiled. Not at all. Rongrong has some talent. I didn't teach her anything. Ning Fengji said with a smile. In order to nurture Ning Rongrong, he had spent a lot of effort. Although Ning Rongrong's talent in this area wasn't very good, she had learned something after being taught by him. In the future, as long as Lu Yuan helped her, it wouldn't be difficult for her to become the sect master of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect. This was his plan all along. Chapter 882. Even though Lu Yuan had said that he wanted Ning Rongrong to stay by his side and give him the Azure Life Returning Pill so that he could take charge of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, he had only thought that Lu Yuan was joking. He might be able to manage the 7 Treasures Glazed sect for a few more days so that Ning Rongrong could spend more time with Lu Yuan and live a carefree life for a few more years. However, in the end, the position of sect master still had to be passed down to Ning Rongrong. There were 2 reasons. Firstly, no matter how close he was to Lu Yuan, they were only father-in-law and son-in-law. Lu Yuan's support for him was limited. Lu Yuan would only help the 7 Treasures Glazed sect if Ning Rongrong became the sect leader. That was because Ning Rongrong was his woman. Secondly, his martial soul was only the 7 Treasures Glazed pagoda. Reaching rank 79 was already his limit. However, Ning Rongrong was different. Her martial soul had already evolved into the 9 Treasures Glazed pagoda, and she could become a titled Douluo. Once Ning Rongrong became a titled Douluo, she could upgrade the 7 Treasures Glazed sect to the 9 Treasures Glazed sect. This was the goal that the sect leaders of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect had always dreamed of achieving. Therefore, the position of sect leader had to be passed down to Ning Rongrong no matter what. Furthermore, he had always been cautious. He liked to plan ahead. Hence, he had to start grooming Ning Rongrong now. However, what Ning Fengji could think of, Lu Yuan could think of as well. Based on Ning Rongrong's naive personality, if she could think of so many things, she must have received a lot of education, energy, and effort in the past 2 years. As he thought until here, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Given her straightforward personality, she probably didn't like these things. Lu Yuan's gaze became gentler as he looked at Ning Rongrong. He reached out and gently brushed away the strands of hair on Ning Rongrong's forehead that were a little messy because of the passionate kiss earlier. Abuchi. Ning Rongrong's eyes sparkled as she watched Lu Yuan's actions. She felt sweet and blissful. "It's been hard on you," Lu Yuan said softly. "No, I did it willingly." Ning Rongrong shook her head. Although she was simple, she wasn't stupid. She knew what Lu Yuan was trying to say. However, as the young sect master of the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, even if she didn't like these things, she still had to learn for the sake of the sect. Not to mention being proficient in it, but at the very least, having the basic ability to do things was a must. "If you have anything you don't understand in the future, you can ask me. I will help you," Lu Yuan said. "Yes." Ning Rongrong nodded. Then, she moved closer to Lu Yuan's ear and whispered, "Abuchi, you're so good to me. Really good to you." Hearing this, Lu Yuan was silent for a while. After a long while, he said softly, "Rongrong, no matter what happens later, don't be afraid. I won't hurt you." Okay." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong was a little puzzled, but she still nodded. She believed that Lu Yuan wouldn't hurt her. "Good girl." Lu Yuan smiled and rubbed Ning Rongrong's head. Then, he turned his head slightly with a trace of sharpness in his eyes. "Uncle Ning, I haven't finished speaking. Please continue." Lu Yuan glanced at Ning Fengji and said indifferently, Then I'll continue. Just now, I mentioned that the Heavenly Sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon Sect were destroyed. Just as Rongrong said, these two sects were very powerful. Besides you, only the Martial Spirit Palace could destroy them, right? Ning Fengji asked. Yes. Lu Yuan nodded slightly in agreement. The Martial Soul Palace has been ambitious for a long time. They have wanted to unify the world of Soul Masters for a long time. The biggest obstacle is the Dragon King Palace. Therefore, there will be a battle between the two of you. Although the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace are known as the Martial Soul Palace, the Martial Soul Palace is an old force with a deep foundation. If we are to talk about it, the two of you are still lacking, right? Ning Fengji looked at Lu Yuan and asked. That's right. So, Uncle Ning, what you mean is that we should work together to resist the Martial Soul Palace, right? Lu Yuan said with a smile. That's right. That's what I mean. Although the Martial Soul Palace is powerful, we are not weak either. If we work together, we can fight against the Martial Soul Palace. We can even suppress them. If we fight alone, we will be defeated by the Martial Soul Palace sooner or later. Abuchi, I know that you are young and heroic. Perhaps you don't think much of the Martial Soul Palace. However, if you fight against the Martial Soul Palace alone, you will suffer a great loss. The Martial Soul Palace has hidden their strength too well. Their methods are too ruthless. You don't know yet, right? 2 days ago, the Martial Soul Palace slaughtered the 4 single attribute clans, which were once affiliated with the Clear Sky sect. They are simply too audacious and lawless. If we don't stop them, the entire world of Soul Masters will be turned upside down. There will be no peace, and we will face a great threat to our survival. With how ruthless the Martial Soul Palace is, they will never let us go. The current situation is that if we work together to resist the Martial Soul Palace, we will have a way to survive. Otherwise, we will follow in the footsteps of the Clear Sky sect and be killed by the Martial Soul Palace. Abuchi, are you willing to accept such a fate? Ning Fengji asked loudly. Of course not. I have always been the one killing people. No one has ever put a butcher's knife on my neck. Uncle Ning, do you think I am the kind of person who will be bullied by others? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. So, Abuchi, you agree to work with us? Hearing this, Ning Fengji asked in surprise. Hearing Ning Fengji's words, Lu Yuan smiled faintly. He didn't answer and asked, Uncle Ning, you must have found many other forces. Can you tell me more about them? Of course. Ning Fengji thought that Lu Yuan had agreed to work with them, so he didn't suspect anything. He immediately told Lu Yuan about all the forces that were dissatisfied with the Martial Soul Palace and wanted to work together to fight against the Martial Soul Palace. How about it, Abuchi? Uncle Ning has contacted many forces, right? As long as we work together, we will have no problem fighting against the Martial Soul Palace. As for the leadership of the alliance, it will naturally be given to the Dragon King Palace. Ning Fengji said with a smile. He didn't have the intention to lead the alliance from the beginning. After all, the Dragon King Palace's strength was obvious. If they joined the alliance, the leadership would be theirs. No one could take it away from them. Hearing Ning Fengji's words, Lu Yuan smiled and said to Yang Shaozhe, do you remember the names of those forces? Yes. Yang Shaozhe nodded. Find a time to kill them all, Lu Yuan said faintly. Chapter 883. Find a time to destroy them all, Lu Yuan said softly, and his voice was heard. Ning Fengji's body stiffened, and he felt as if his brain had stopped working. Abuchi, what did you say? Ning Fengji's expression changed. What did he just hear? Lu Yuan said that he wanted to destroy all those organizations. Lu Yuan didn't answer him. Instead, he smiled and asked softly, Uncle Ning, you've always been curious about my background, haven't you? Ning Fengji nodded when he heard this. He had always been curious about Lu Yuan's background. What kind of organization could nurture a prodigy like Lu Yuan? He knew about Lu Yuan's background before he was 6 years old. He was from Notting Academy. After all, the fellows were Lu Yuan's adoptive father. However, he didn't know about Lu Yuan's background after that. He had tried to find out more about it, but he didn't find anything. In the end, he could only categorize it as a hidden organization. After all, the continent was so huge. It wasn't impossible for there to be a powerful hidden sect. However, now that Lu Yuan wanted to reveal his identity, Ning Fengji's curiosity was piqued. He even forgot about what Lu Yuan had said earlier. Then I'll let you know my true identity today. Lu Yuan smiled and snapped his fingers. Suddenly, there was a sound from outside the door. 5 figures quickly appeared in the guest room. Each of them exuded a powerful aura. It was an aura that belonged to a titled Douluo. Ning Fengji focused his gaze when he saw the 5 titled Douluo. The sword Douluo behind him squinted his eyes, and sword chi surged from his body. Snake spear Douluo? Thorny pufferfish Douluo? Second consecrated golden crocodile, third consecrated Qianjun Douluo, and fourth consecrated demon vanquishing Douluo. Ning Fengji and the sword Douluo revealed their identities at the same time. All of them had once been extremely renowned figures on the continent, so Ning Fengji and the sword Douluo were naturally able to identify them with ease. Why would someone from the Martial Soul Palace appear in the Dragon King Palace? Ning Fengji was stunned at first, but then he quickly reacted. Great panic rose in his heart. The sword Douluo's expression also changed slightly, and a bad feeling welled up in his heart. Abuchi, are you working with the Martial Soul Palace? Ning Fengji's face turned slightly pale. If the Dragon King Palace and the Martial Soul Palace joined forces, would the other forces still have a chance to resist? None at all. Under the strength of the 2 palaces, they were just lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Join forces with the Martial Soul Palace? Lu Yuan smiled and shook his head. Tell them who I am. Golden Crocodile and the others bowed at the same time. Greetings, Your Highness. The loud, uniform voices resounded throughout the entire reception room, causing Ning Fengji and the others to feel as if they had been struck by lightning. They were instantly stunned. Let's lay our cards on the table. I am the holy son of the martial soul palace. Lu Yuan stood up slightly with his hands behind his back. An invisible aura was released, and his entire body was filled with the dignity of a superior. After hiding for so long, I can finally announce my identity openly today. This feeling is really relaxing. Uncle Ning, how is it? Are you very surprised by my identity? Lu Yuan smiled faintly as he looked at Ning Fengji. Ning Fengji did not reply to Lu Yuan. His face was deathly pale, and his eyes were dazed. His face was filled with disbelief, and his heart was in a perilous situation. Lu Yuan's words were like a bolt from the blue, completely destroying all of his defenses. His ability to maintain his composure that he had always been proud of was completely destroyed. This was the first time in his life that he had lost his composure like this. Seeing Ning Fengji's expression, Lu Yuan continued, I joined the martial soul palace when I was 6. The current pope, Bibidon, is my teacher, the captain of the golden generation, and the current saintess, Hulena, is my senior sister. I am the legendary holy son of the martial soul palace. Also, the destruction of the Clear Sky sect and Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect that you mentioned earlier was also planned by me. The Clear Sky sect was completely destroyed by Elder Long and the 6 reverends of the Hall of Worship. I personally led a team to destroy the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect. Their sect master, Yu Yuanjin, was killed by a single slap from me. His body was pulverized, and he died without a complete corpse. As for the 4 single elemental clans, I was the one who proposed to destroy them. How is it? Isn't the truth very interesting? You must be surprised, Lu Yuan said softly with a slight smile on his face. Hearing this, Ning Fengji's entire body trembled. His blood surged, and even every cell in his body trembled. So I've always been the culprit behind the destruction of the 2 sects. I've been discussing with the mighty Martial Soul Palace Holy Son of the Martial Soul Palace to deal with the Martial Soul Palace. Ning Fengji said with a bitter smile. Lu Yuan was the culprit behind the destruction of the 2 sects. He was the Holy Son of the Martial Soul Palace. However, he was actually discussing with Lu Yuan to deal with the Martial Soul Palace. How ironic was this? Lu Yuan must have been laughing at him the entire time. He thought he was smart and far-sighted, but he had actually done such a shameful thing. He, Ning Fengji, would probably never be able to raise his head again. Hey, Uncle Ning, there's no need to be so angry. Speaking of which, I really have to thank you. I've been trying my best to find those forces that are enemies of the Martial Soul Palace. However, some of them have hidden themselves too deeply. Even I couldn't find them. It's all thanks to Uncle Ning. You personally sent their list to me. This has really helped me a lot. Pu. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Fengji couldn't hold it in anymore. His blood surged wildly, and he immediately spat out a large mouthful of blood. The dripping blood sprayed onto the pure white table. It was a ghastly sight. He had been smart his entire life, but he had actually been played by a brat like Lu Yuan. Moreover, he had actually taken the initiative to send his allies to the slaughter of the Martial Soul Palace. This was a huge blow to Ning Fengji. At this moment, Ning Fengji had completely collapsed. Father! Fengji! Ning Rongrong and the sword Douluo cried out at the same time. They quickly ran towards Ning Fengji. The sword Douluo wasn't far away. He directly supported Ning Fengji's body. Then, Ning Rongrong also ran in front of Ning Fengji and supported him. He actually spat out blood. Seeing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be a little shocked. He was just using his mouth. How did he manage to make Ning Fengji spit out blood? Seeing Ning Rongrong's tear-stained face, a faint sense of regret welled up in his heart. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have been so greedy. Now, Rongrong would probably hate him to death. Moreover, when he saw Ning Rongrong crying, his heart couldn't help but ache a little. Chapter 884. Abuchi, you're impressive. You're really good at talking. When Qian Renxue saw Ning Fengji vomiting blood from Lu Yuan's words, she could not help but feel a little surprised. Not only was Ning Fengji powerful, but he was also very eloquent. More importantly, he managed to make Ning Fengji vomit blood in front of Ning Rongrong. He wasn't afraid that Ning Rongrong would fall out with him. However, Chihiro Snow didn't know that Lu Yuan was actually very regretful. He didn't care if Ning Fengji vomited blood, but he blamed himself for making Ning Rongrong sad. Let me take a look. Lu Yuan pushed his chair away and walked towards Ning Fengji. Stop right there. You're not allowed to get close to Fengji. The sword Douluo's gaze sharpened when he saw Lu Yuan walking over. He immediately stood in front of Ning Fengji. Lu Yuan was the holy son of the martial soul palace now. The sword Douluo wouldn't let Lu Yuan get close to Ning Fengji. What if Lu Yuan hurt Ning Fengji? How dare you block my master's path? The sword Douluo had just moved when the voices of Long Xiaoyaro and the others rang out. Their auras surged as they locked onto the sword Douluo. Even the sword Douluo couldn't withstand being locked onto by so many titled Douluo at the same time. His face turned blood red, and his body went soft. He was about to kneel on the ground. Disperse. Did I give you permission to attack? Lu Yuan waved his sleeve, and his aura surged. He broke through the seal on the sword Douluo's aura. The sword Douluo's expression became a lot better, and he steadied himself. Retract your auras. Don't act recklessly without my orders. Lu Yuan's gaze sharpened. He swept his gaze across everyone, and his eyes were filled with dominance. Yes, my master. Long Xiaoyaro and the others immediately retracted their auras after Lu Yuan swept his gaze across them. The rest of you stand to one side too, Lu Yuan said as he looked at the golden crocodile and the others. Yes, Your Highness. Golden Crocodile and the others responded and stood at the side of the reception room. Seeing their actions, Lu Yuan withdrew his gaze and walked towards Ning Fengji again. You're not allowed to get close to Fengji. However, just as Lu Yuan took a step forward, the sword Douluo stepped in front of him again. Senior Jian, please step aside. I won't hurt Uncle Ning, Lu Yuan said softly. No. Lu Yuan had just made Ning Fengji vomit blood, so there was no way that he would believe Lu Yuan's words. Are you sure? Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes. No, the sword Douluo said firmly. Then I'm sorry to offend you. Lu Yuan heaved a faint sigh as he quickly extended his right hand toward the sword Douluo. The sword Douluo's expression changed, and he immediately took a step back. After that, he unleashed his sword chi as he prepared to retaliate. However, things didn't go as he'd expected. Before he could even react, Lu Yuan's palm had already landed on his shoulder. Immediately, all of his soul force was sealed by Lu Yuan. The sword Douluo was at rank 96, but he couldn't even withstand a single blow from Lu Yuan. If Hua Yuhao really wanted to attack, he could kill the sword Douluo in a single strike. How are you so strong? The sword Douluo's eyes were filled with astonishment. He couldn't even retaliate against Lu Yuan before he was restrained. This was the first time that he had encountered such a situation after so many years on the continent. The new generation is replacing the old. Senior Jian, you're getting old. After patting the sword Douluo's shoulder, Lu Yuan walked around him and continued forward. Stop. Don't hurt my father. Ning Rongrong spread open her arms and stood in front of Lu Yuan. Her sapphire eyes were filled with tears, and there was a heartbroken look on her face. This sudden turn of events had truly hurt her. Rongrong, even you don't believe me? I won't hurt Uncle Ning. Looking at Ning Rongrong who was blocking the way, Lu Yuan sighed softly and said faintly, I really want to believe you, but you. Ning Rongrong was clearly very emotional, and she couldn't even finish a complete sentence. Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel even more heartache and self-reproach at the sight of Ning Rongrong's reaction. He quickly stepped forward, and before Ning Rongrong could react, he pulled her into his arms. I'm sorry, Rongrong. It was my fault. I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. Lu Yuan hugged Ning Rongrong's body and gently patted her back with his right hand to calm her down. I won't hurt Uncle Ning, and I won't hurt anyone from the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. If I really wanted to do something, I wouldn't have waited until now. I would have done it when I destroyed the Clear Sky sect. Don't you think so? Lu Yuan asked softly. Ning Rongrong's body trembled slightly when she heard that. Lu Yuan was right. If he really wanted to do something to the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, he would have done it when he destroyed the Clear Sky sect. Why would he wait until now? Then why did you say that about my father? You even made him vomit blood. Ning Rongrong's sobbing voice rang out. That was my fault. I apologize to you again. Don't cry, okay? I feel very bad when I see you cry. Lu Yuan raised his right hand and gently wiped away the tears at the corner of Ning Rongrong's eyes. His heart was filled with pity as he looked at her sad little face. Looking at Lu Yuan's tender and doting eyes, Ning Rongrong's heart relaxed a little. The fear she felt earlier was mostly gone, and in turn, feelings of affection welled up in her heart. Why did you lie to me? Ning Rongrong bit her lip and looked at Lu Yuan with a trace of doubt in her eyes. I've never lied to you. Did I ever tell you that I'm not a member of the Martial Soul Palace? Lu Yuan asked. This? No. Ning Rongrong shook her head. Lu Yuan did not seem to have said that he was not a member of the Martial Soul Palace. But your actions have deceived the world. You've been going against the Martial Soul Palace in every way. How could others think that you're a member of the Martial Soul Palace? After a pause, Ning Rongrong suddenly realized that Lu Yuan was obviously trying to change the concept. You didn't say it, but you've done so many things against the Martial Soul Palace. Any normal person would not think that you're a member of the Martial Soul Palace. So you still lied to me. Ning Rongrong stared at Lu Yuan and said word by word. This. Lu Yuan was slightly speechless. He looked at Ning Rongrong with a strange gaze. He did not expect her to be so eloquent all of a sudden. Phut, you've screwed up, young Master Lu. Chihiro Snow could not help but laugh when he saw Lu Yuan's speechless expression. It was very rare to see this guy like this. When Lu Yuan heard this, he glared at Chen Renxue in displeasure. This was a critical moment for him to coax Ning Rongrong. Now that she had come to cause trouble, she was deliberately trying to stop him from reconciling with Ning Rongrong. After being glanced at by Lu Yuan, Chihiro Snow hurriedly raised his hand to cover his mouth. However, his golden eyes still carried a trace of a smile. Chapter 885. Looking at Chihiro Snow's appearance, Lu Yuan helplessly withdrew his gaze. Women nowadays really want to see the world in chaos. Looking at Ning Rongrong in front of him, Lu Yuan couldn't help but reach out his hand and gently caress her cheek. Feeling the warmth of Lu Yuan's palm on her face, Ning Rongrong's heart trembled slightly. Love surged as she looked at Lu Yuan with a complicated gaze. On one hand, she loved Lu Yuan very much. On the other hand, Lu Yuan's identity, his deceit to her, and the fact that he made Ning Fengji vomit blood made her feel quite resentful towards Lu Yuan. In particular, she couldn't accept Lu Yuan's deceit. Rongrong, you've really become a lot smarter. Lu Yuan sighed with a hint of gentleness in his eyes. If it was the Ning Rongrong from before, she definitely wouldn't have said those words. So what? I was still fooled by you. Ning Rongrong's voice had a hint of sobbing. The tears in her sapphire-like eyes began to condense again. Don't cry. Seeing that Ning Rongrong was about to cry again, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel anxious. He wasn't afraid of anything except for his woman's tears. Rongrong, I can swear to the heavens that I may have deceived the world, but I really never thought of deceiving you. It's just that when you approached me, the plan had already begun. For the sake of the Martial Soul Palace's plan, for the sake of the unification of the continent, my identity must be kept a secret. But other than my identity, I really haven't lied to you about anything. My feelings for you are all real. I never joke about feelings. Everything between us is true. I've been with you for so long. Can't you feel whether I'm sincere to you or not? Also, when have I done anything to hurt your Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Have I killed anyone from your Seven Treasures Glazed sect? On the contrary, ever since they cooperated with me, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect's strength has increased greatly. Rong, ask yourself honestly. Have I done anything to let down your Seven Treasures Glazed sect? Lu Yuan asked indifferently. No. Ning Rongrong thought about it carefully and then shook her head. Looking at Lu Yuan, her gaze softened a lot. She could still feel whether Lu Yuan was sincere towards her. For a moment, the resentment in her heart dissipated a lot. She was simple, or rather, she lacked her own opinions. Just as Chihiro Snow had said, it was not difficult to persuade her. Of course, the premise was that one had to be sincere. What Lu Yuan said just now was the truth. Ning Rongrong could naturally accept it, because in her impression, Lu Yuan really did do that. However, Ning Rongrong still had a knot in her heart. But you schemed against my father. Everything my father did was schemed against by you. Thinking about how Ning Fengji had actually taken the initiative to give the name list of the alliance that he had painstakingly obtained to Lu Yuan, personally sending those people into the tiger's mouth, Ning Rongrong's heart could not bear it. That was definitely a huge blow to Ning Fengji. Thinking of Ning Fengji, she could not help but have a trace of resistance towards Lu Yuan. She loved Lu Yuan, but she also loved Ning Fengji, her father. Both of them had a very high position in her heart. Now that Ning Fengji had vomited blood, how could she let it go so easily? Didn't I apologize just now? Also, I schemed against your father. Isn't your father also schemed against me? Lu Yuan said faintly. You're lying. I don't believe it. Ning Rongrong shook her head and said. You don't believe it? Lu Yuan smiled, with a trace of sarcasm in his smile. Go and ask your good father if he was scheming against me. Why is it that no matter where I go, you can always get the news and rush to my side immediately? Who told you this news, and who has been encouraging and supporting you not to give up? Not long after you and I started dating, who couldn't wait to propose an engagement and wanted to completely settle our relationship? Rongrong, tell me, who is this? Lu Yuan asked indifferently. It's my father, that's right, it's your father. You think that your benevolent and righteous father is unparalleled. Rongrong, compared to me, your father is even worse to you. From the beginning, he used you as a tool to rope me in and restrain me. He wants you to catch up with me and then get engaged to me. This way, he can tie me and the 7 treasures glazed sect tightly together. This kind of marriage is common in the various large sects. Don't tell me that you don't know. Actually, from the beginning, I knew what your father was planning, so I've always kept a respectful distance from you. On one hand, it's because I noticed your father's purpose. On the other hand, it's because I don't want to involve you. You're too innocent. I don't want to hurt you because I know that today's situation will come one day. When the time comes and you know the truth, you'll definitely be very sad. But unfortunately, I still couldn't control myself. In the face of your pure and strong love, even though I knew it was a scheme, I still fell in love with you. Lu Yuan sighed softly with a hint of sadness in his tone. He looked at Ning Rongrong's somewhat absent-minded little face and couldn't help but lean forward and kiss her gently on the lips. Then, he hugged her tightly. Ning Rongrong didn't seem to be affected by Lu Yuan's kiss. She still looked absent-minded. Thinking of the past, she had already come to a conclusion in her heart. Lu Yuan's words were at least 90% credible. However, she still didn't give up. She turned her head forcefully and looked at Ning Fengji. Seeing this, Ning Fengji was silent for a moment. After a while, he sighed softly and said, Father did this because you like Abuchi. Although father has other thoughts, he won't ruin your happiness, Rongrong. As soon as he said this, Ning Rongrong's delicate body trembled and tears flowed out of her eyes. Lu Yuan's words were confirmed. Her father was indeed using her to get close to Abuchi and scheme against him. Even her own father was using her as a tool. She suddenly felt that she was very pitiful. Looking at Ning Rongrong's tear-filled face, Ning Fengji opened his mouth. He wanted to say something to comfort her, but in the end, he couldn't say a word. His eyes were gloomy and his heart was indescribably complicated. After this matter was revealed, Ning Rongrong would definitely be incomparably jealous of him. He also didn't want to use Ning Rongrong. How could he not love his own daughter? However, as the sect master, he had to be responsible for the entire sect. In addition, Ning Rongrong was infatuated with Lu Yuan, so he made this decision. He originally thought that these things wouldn't be discovered for the rest of his life, but who would have thought that Lu Yuan was the holy son of the martial soul palace? These things were now completely on the table. Chapter 886. Woo Woo. Ning Rongrong's sobs resounded throughout the reception room. Her jade-like cheeks were covered with tears. Her eyes were dark and gloomy, and her little face was scrunched up. This time, she was really sad. She was even sadder than when Lu Yuan had concealed his identity from her. Lu Yuan had concealed his identity at most. He had never lied to her about anything else. However, her father had used her as a tool to restrain Lu Yuan. How could she accept such a blow? She had always been doted on by Ning Fengji. Now, she discovered that her father, who had always doted on her, was actually using her. How could she not feel pain and sorrow from the bottom of her heart? Rongrong. Lu Yuan sighed softly and patted Ning Rongrong's back. This time, he did not persuade Ning Rongrong to stop crying. It was much better to cry out these grievances than to hide them in her heart. Woo woo. Ning Rongrong threw herself into Lu Yuan's arms. Her little face leaned against Lu Yuan's chest, and her tears wetted Lu Yuan's clothes. However, Lu Yuan did not care at all. He gently patted Ning Rongrong's back while comforting her in a low voice. He could feel Ning Rongrong's delicate body trembling in his arms as she cried. The tenderness in his heart gushed out like a tide. After crying for a while, Ning Rongrong gradually stopped crying. Her eyes were red, and her pair of big shining eyes seemed to have lost their luster. Her little face drooped, and she had a listless expression. It was as if she had lost her spirit. Lu Yuan carefully wiped away the tears on her face and kissed away the tears at the corner of her eyes. He hugged her delicate body tightly as if to give her his own warmth. Rongrong. Lu Yuan called out in a low voice. His tone was filled with deep concern. Hearing Lu Yuan's affectionate call, Ning Rongrong's eyes moved, and a faint light emerged from the depths of her eyes. Don't be afraid, Rongrong. From now on, I will always accompany you and spoil you. No matter what my identity is, my love for you will never change. Lu Yuan said softly. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes again. She did not answer Lu Yuan and remained silent. However, the light in her eyes grew brighter. Alas! Lu Yuan sighed. His left hand held Ning Rongrong's delicate body, holding her in his arms. His right hand pointed in the air, and a white light enveloped Ning Fengji's body, helping him quickly recover from his injuries. The effect of the clear qi divine power was remarkable. In a short while, Ning Fengji's injuries were completely healed. He withdrew his right hand, and the white light once again enveloped Ning Rongrong, helping her to calm down. Today, Ning Rongrong's emotions fluctuated too much, which could easily harm her body. The clear qi divine power could remove this hidden danger. Ning Rongrong's emotions calmed down a lot after being comforted by the clear qi divine power. However, she still had a sullen expression on her face. Lu Yuan's heart throbbed slightly at the sight of Ning Rongrong's dejected state. He picked her up and made his way back to where they had originally been, and when he passed by the sword Douluo, he unsealed his soul power with a casual pat. Seeing Lu Yuan pass by him, the sword Douluo sighed softly. There was a complicated look in his eyes. Lu Yuan returned to the main seat and placed Ning Rongrong on his lap. His left hand was still hugging her tightly. He tapped his right hand gently on the table. He looked at Ning Rongrong with pity in his eyes, and then looked at Ning Fengji. Uncle Ning, on account of Rongrong, I'll give you two choices now. First, submit to me and join my camp. In return, I'll guarantee that your 7 treasures glazed sect will have no worries for the rest of your life. No matter what kind of opponent or enemy your 7 treasures glazed sect faces, I'll help you settle it. Now that only your 7 treasures glazed sect is left, you can take this opportunity to develop. Not only will I not restrict your development, but I'll also support you. When the time comes, other than the Martial Soul Palace and the Dragon King Palace, your 7 treasures glazed sect will be the strongest force in the world. And I believe that by this time, you should be able to guess what our purpose is. Shue Let Sect Master Ning see your other identity. Lu Yuan said plainly. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow smiled. She wiped her face gently with her jade-like hand. Suddenly, her temperament changed, and she became the cultured and elegant Xue Qinghe. Crown Prince. Ning Fengji opened his mouth wide in shock. You're pretending to be the Crown Prince. Your martial soul palace wants to plot against the Heaven Do Empire, and then use it to unify the continent. Ning Fengji said his guess aloud. That's right. Our martial soul palace's final goal is to unify the continent. The world is divided for a long time, and divided for a long time, it must be united. The two empires are rotten to the core, and the people are bullied, living in an abyss of suffering. It's time to unify and create a great unified country. Only by unifying the entire continent, unifying the two empires, and making the people of the two empires indistinguishable from each other, and implementing a new effective administrative system, can the continent truly prosper, and let more people live and work in peace. Lu Yuan said in a serious tone. You make it sound good. The two empires are rotten to the core, but isn't the martial soul palace also full of scum? Ning Fengji mocked. Then we'll completely unify and clean the martial soul palace, and get rid of all the vermin and scum. Uncle Ning, do you think that I don't have the ability to lift this butcher's knife? Lu Yuan retorted. Well, Ning Fengji didn't know what to say. He knew that Lu Yuan definitely had the ability. As for saying that Lu Yuan couldn't lift the butcher's knife, that was even more ridiculous. The corpses of the Clear Sky sect and Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect weren't even cold yet. He believed that Lu Yuan could definitely lift the butcher's knife and kill until the heads rolled. What's the second choice? Ning Fengji asked. The second choice? Lu Yuan narrowed his eyes. The second choice is for Uncle Ning to be determined and hang yourself with the imperial family. If Uncle Ning chooses this, then I won't let the Dragon King Palace do it out of respect for Rongrong. However, I'm not sure about my teacher. After all, I'm only a saint, not the Pope. I can't stop my teacher from doing whatever he wants. If the Seven Treasures Glazed sect is also taken, then don't blame me for not warning you, Uncle Ning. So you're threatening me? Ning Fengji narrowed his eyes. No, how can this be considered a threat? This is a piece of advice. Also, something big might happen in Heaven Do Imperial City in the next few days. For your safety, Uncle Ning, you and Elder Jian should stay in the Dragon King Palace for a few more days. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. After he spoke, the auras of Long Xiaoyaro and the other titled Douluo flashed. Ning Fengji's expression became very serious. Chapter 887. Are you trying to force us to stay? Ning Fengji asked as he looked at the 12 titled Douluo around him. How can this be considered forcing you to stay? I'm doing this for Uncle Ning's safety. It's so chaotic outside. Elder Sword can't protect you alone. Am I right, Elder Sword? Lu Yuan looked at the sword Douluo and said with a half-smile. Indeed. If our enemies are all at your level, I won't be able to protect Fengji. You're not weaker than the Dragon Emperor Douluo now, are you? The sword Douluo stared at Lu Yuan and asked. Earlier, he had been subdued by Lu Yuan in one move. It was a huge blow to him. I'm no match for my master, Long Xiaoyaro said. Elder Long, you're too humble. I can't beat you, and you can't beat me. We're on par at most. Lu Yuan laughed as he spoke. Long Xiaoyaro was naturally stronger than Sendryu. However, his martial soul was suppressed by Lu Yuan. His abilities would decrease when he faced Lu Yuan. Therefore, if the two of them fought, the outcome would be similar to the battle between Lu Yuan and Sendryu. Of course, this was only talking about normal abilities. The God-slaying spear wasn't included. If the God-slaying spear was included, Lu Yuan could really kill everyone on the continent with his current fighting strength. Even Di Tian would definitely die if he was hit by his spear. It couldn't be helped. The most lethal weapon in the world was just that strong. As for whether it could kill a god, it was hard to say. There was no reference, and no one knew how strong a god was. Of course, there was one thing that was certain. For others, the saying that those below the god level could not kill gods did not apply to Lu Yuan. If the god-slaying spear hit a vital point, even a god would die. This was something that Lu Yuan had never doubted. Similar to the dragon emperor Douluo? Indeed. The sword Douluo murmured to himself as his expression eased slightly. As expected, Lu Yuan had reached the limit of power, and only someone at the limit of power would be able to subdue him with a single strike. The sword Douluo couldn't help but sigh with emotion at the thought of this. Compared to Lu Yuan, all of them had been living like dogs for the past few years. 2 years, in just 2 years, Lu Yuan's strength had undergone another huge transformation, reaching a level that he could only look up to. The sword Douluo didn't dare to imagine just how powerful he would become in 2 more years. It wasn't just the sword Douluo, Ning Fengji was the same. After hearing that Lu Yuan was able to fight Long Xiaoyaro to a draw, Ning Fengji was extremely shocked. If he were to make an enemy out of someone like Lu Yuan, he was destined to die. Uncle Ning, what's your decision? Which path are you going to choose? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Hearing this, Ning Fengji blinked and remained silent. Heh, interesting. You're playing this game with me? Uncle Ning, do you think you'll be fine if you don't say anything? I'll give you 3 minutes to think about it. The fate of the 7 treasures glazed sect is in your hands. Uncle Ning, don't be foolish. Otherwise, just like I said, if teacher wants to make a move on all of you, I won't be able to help. Lu Yuan said plainly. After hearing this, Ning Fengji's expression changed slightly. He could sense that Lu Yuan wasn't joking. What he said was true. If he didn't agree, the martial soul palace might really destroy the 7 treasures glazed sect. Abuchi. There was movement in his arms as Ning Rongrong called out softly. She looked at him with a pair of pitiful eyes, and her eyes were full of pleading. No. Ning Rongrong shook her head and said softly. Although she was used as a tool by Ning Fengji to restrain Lu Yuan, Ning Rongrong still couldn't let go of the 7 treasures glazed sect. No matter what, it was her home. Therefore, she couldn't help but beg Lu Yuan for mercy. Seeing Ning Rongrong like this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel moved. He raised his right hand and gently stroked Ning Rongrong's cheek. I don't want to, but I can't change teacher's will. Your fate is in your father's hands. As long as he agrees to surrender, everything will be fine. But no matter what your father chooses, Rongrong, you don't have to be afraid. I'll protect you. I won't let anyone hurt you. Lu Yuan said softly. Abuchi. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but call out softly again. Don't worry, watch carefully. Lu Yuan kissed Ning Rongrong's forehead and held her in his arms. He then looked at Ning Fengji again. Uncle Ning, you know the current situation. With the Martial Soul Palace and the Dragon King Palace's strength, we can already forcefully unify the entire continent. We're only using this method to reduce the number of deaths. To be honest, the 7 treasures glazed sect's attitude isn't important. Now that Cher has great power, she's destined to become the Heaven Do Empress. Unifying the entire continent is only a matter of time. The reason why I'm here to persuade you is for your own good. For Rongrong, and also for our past cooperation. I don't want to see your sect destroyed like the Clear Sky sect and the others. What's so good about the Heaven Do imperial family? They're just a bunch of stupid pigs. Do they deserve your support and your entire sect? They're destined to become the dust of history. Do you really want to follow them? If you agree to submit to me, not only will the 7 treasures glazed sect be safe, but you'll also be able to develop quickly. I can give you whatever the Heaven Do imperial family can give you. I can even support you to become the #1 sect in the world. This should be your goal all along. I can fulfill this wish of yours. Furthermore, I can guarantee that I won't interfere with the internal affairs of the 7 treasures glazed sect. I'll let you have complete independence. If you're interested in power, I can even make you an imperial preceptor or even a king after unifying the continent. Isn't that better than following the Heaven Do imperial family? How about it? Are my conditions sincere enough? If you still don't agree and insist on courting death, then I can't do anything. Good words can't persuade a damned ghost. I just want to protect Rongrong. At the end of the day, I only care about Rongrong. Lu Yuan said plainly as he looked at Ning Fengji. At this point, he had already done all he could. If Ning Fengji still did not know what was good for him, then he could not blame him for being ruthless. He was never a good person. He couldn't do it himself, but there were plenty of people who could do it for him. Uncle Ning, have you made up your mind? Lu Yuan asked in a low voice. Sigh, do I have a choice? Ning Fengji sighed helplessly. As soon as he said that, the corners of Lu Yuan's mouth couldn't help but curl up. Chapter 888. Congratulations, Uncle Ning. You've made a wise choice. A light flashed in Lu Yuan's eyes, and the corners of his mouth curled into a smile. Ning Fengji didn't have any other choice from the beginning. He could only follow Lu Yuan to the end unless he wanted to die. However, Ning Fengji was a smart person. He valued the Seven Treasures Glazed sect more than anything else. He didn't even hesitate to scheme against his own daughter. How could he really let the Seven Treasures Glazed sect be buried with the Heaven Do imperial family? The reason why he hesitated for so long was that he wanted to get more benefits. Secondly, he felt indignant that he was being played by Lu Yuan. Therefore, he wanted to be stubborn for a while. However, after Lu Yuan promised him many benefits and gave him an ultimatum, he couldn't sit still anymore. He knew that Lu Yuan's patience was reaching its limit. If he continued to be stubborn, even Ning Rongrong wouldn't be able to save the Seven Treasures Glazed sect. Therefore, he naturally stopped while he was ahead. Lu Yuan naturally knew what Ning Fengji was thinking. However, even though he was clear about this, he still had to say some words of persuasion. More importantly, he had to win Ning Rongrong's heart. He believed that after he finished speaking, Ning Rongrong's resentment towards him would almost completely dissipate. Therefore, both sides had their own plans. He looked at Ning Rongrong. Sure enough, her expression was much better. She felt relieved that the Seven Treasures Glazed sect was safe. She looked at Lu Yuan with her ice-blue eyes. The resentment in her eyes had already dissipated. Only affection was left. In her opinion, Lu Yuan was willing to give the Seven Treasures Glazed sect so much preferential treatment because of her. Naturally, she was very touched. As for Lu Yuan's concealment of his identity, she naturally forgot about it. It was replaced by a strong feeling of affection. Of course, this was the truth. If it wasn't for Ning Rongrong, the Seven Treasures Glazed sect would have been long gone. Not to mention, there were so many conditions. It was also because of her that Lu Yuan was willing to say so much. Otherwise, he would have just killed him. Killing someone was not difficult. Yu Yuanjin was famous enough, but Lu Yuan had turned him into minced meat with a single slap. If it was the Seven Treasures Glazed sect, it would only be a matter of adding 2 more slaps. It was very simple. Abuchi, thank you, Ning Rongrong said softly. Her sapphire-like eyes blinked, and her tone was filled with gratitude. Lu Yuan shook his head and said softly, "There's no need for thanks between us. We are engaged. You are my fiancé." "That's right." Hearing this, Ning Rongrong nodded her head lightly as if she had suddenly realized something. "Silly girl." Lu Yuan smiled. He couldn't help but reach out and gently pinch her cheeks. Seeing Lu Yuan's actions, Ning Rongrong couldn't help but smile. Her expression became cheerful, and the relationship between the two gradually returned to its previous state. Seeing the smile on Ning Rongrong's face again, Lu Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Ning Rongrong would always have such a look of despair. After getting close to Ning Rongrong again, his attention was cast on Ning Fengji. Since Uncle Ning has already made a choice, then I will naturally keep my promise to Uncle Ning. You can rest assured now that you have grown up. Lu Yuan said lightly. I'm not worried about this. Since you have made a promise, then I will naturally believe you. You still have this little bit of credibility. What I'm concerned about is, what do I need to do? You have subdued our Seven Treasures Glazed sect. It's impossible that you don't have any thoughts about it. Ning Fengji said. Haha, Uncle Ning is indeed a smart person. It's so comfortable to talk to a smart person like you. I naturally have some thoughts about it. Now that Cher is about to take the final step and ascend to the throne, I hope that you can help Cher and support Cher to become emperor, Lu Yuan said with a smile. It's that simple? Ning Fengji asked with some surprise. It's that simple. First, I don't need you to send people. Second, I don't need you to send money. I just need you to publicly express your support. How about it? Is it worth it? Lu Yuan said softly. It's indeed worth it. You can get so many benefits just by publicly supporting her. There is no better deal in the world than this. But why are you treating us so well? Ning Fengji asked. I've already answered this question. Because you have a good daughter. With her, I'm willing to give you some benefits. Looking at Ning Rongrong, Lu Yuan said softly. Looking at Lu Yuan's gaze, Ning Rongrong smiled slightly and leaned into Lu Yuan's arms. Rongrong? Ning Fengji murmured softly with a somewhat complicated look in his eyes. After this operation, Lu Yuan and Ning Rongrong had buried the hatchet, but he had incurred Ning Rongrong's jealousy. This guy's brain was really good. He had tricked him. Moreover, he had to gratefully accept the preferential treatment given by Lu Yuan. To be honest, Ning Fengji had never been so aggrieved in his life. Abuchi, you're amazing. You've won the contest between us. Looking at Lu Yuan, Ning Fengji couldn't help but sigh softly after a long silence. From the beginning, he had been tricked by Lu Yuan, and then the trap went deeper and deeper. He was completely played by Lu Yuan. The key was that he was proud of it and thought that he had taken advantage of it. Thinking of his thoughts at that time, Ning Fengji felt a little mocking. Perhaps in Lu Yuan's eyes, he had always been like a clown. No, Uncle Ning, you're wrong again. I won, and you didn't lose. You were led by me from the beginning to the end, but my heart was also captured by Rongrong, wasn't it? This girl's charm is really great. Although I tried my best, I still couldn't resist it. In the end, I still fell in love with her uncontrollably. Your honey trap still succeeded. Lu Yuan's eyes turned and began to say good things. His words were also tinged with sarcasm. Ning Rongrong, who was in his arms, was happy to hear it. At the same time, she couldn't help but feel a little resentment towards Ning Fengji. Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Ning Fengji's mouth couldn't help but twitch. He was careless and was tricked by this guy again. He made a good impression in front of Ning Rongrong, but in the end, he was tricked again. Little fox. Ning Fengji murmured softly, looking straight at Lu Yuan. Old fox. Lu Yuan was not afraid at all. His eyes directly met Ning Fengji's. Their gazes seemed to stir up invisible sparks in the air. The air was filled with a faint smell of gunpowder. These two people are facing each other again. It seems that there will be a lot of open and covert fighting and scheming against each other in the future. I just don't know which one of these two foxes will be better. Looking at this scene, Chihiro Snow secretly laughed. Chapter 889. Dragon King Palace, in Lu Yuan's room. At this time, the sun was about to set in the west, and the afterglow of the setting sun was exceptionally beautiful. Lu Yuan glanced at the scenery outside the window and shifted his gaze to the person lying in his arms. You really don't want to go back with your father? Lu Yuan gently stroked Ning Rongrong's long hair and asked softly. I don't want to go back with him, and I don't want to see him these few days. I want to stay here. You won't drive me away, right? Ning Rongrong raised her head and looked at Lu Yuan and asked. Knowing that Ning Fengji had been using her as a tool to restrain Lu Yuan, she had a lot of resentment towards Ning Fengji, and this resentment obviously couldn't dissipate in a short time. Therefore, Ning Rongrong obviously had some estrangement with Ning Fengji, and it was normal that she didn't want to see him. How can I drive you away? I can't wait for you to stay here forever. Listening to Ning Rongrong's words, Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. That's good. Ning Rongrong smiled sweetly and said. Rongrong, I'm sorry for hiding my true identity from you for so long. Staring at Ning Rongrong for a while, Lu Yuan sighed softly. Don't say sorry, I don't blame you, as long as you didn't deceive my feelings. That's all I care about. Ning Rongrong shook her head and said. Of course not, I never joke about feelings. I love you, and this is the truth. Lu Yuan said softly. Then how do you prove it? Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes and asked. Then how do you want me to prove it? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Kiss me. Ning Rongrong pointed to her red lips and said softly. Like this, I like it. Lu Yuan's mouth revealed a slight smile, and then directly kissed Ning Rongrong's red lips. Half an hour later. You don't touch me. Ning Rongrong hugged the quilt and looked at Lu Yuan with resentment with her big sapphire-like eyes. He had eaten all the tofu of this guy, but he didn't do the last thing. It's almost time to eat. It's too late. You've seen how good I am. Don't tell me you didn't peek at me that night. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong's face turned slightly red. Of course she had peeked, and she had peeked for an entire night. Recalling the scene at that time, she was a little frightened. Lu Yuan's terror seemed to be a little beyond her imagination. If she was alone, would she be able to do it? She was a little suspicious. Looking at Ning Rongrong's sparkling eyes, Lu Yuan faintly smiled and pulled her naked body into his embrace. I haven't seen you for 2 years. My Rongrong has grown up a lot. You really win my heart, Lu Yuan said with a smile while taking advantage of her. I know you've always liked big ones, so you went home to do your homework? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Yes, otherwise how can I please you? Ning Rongrong rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan and said indifferently. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be silent. Ning Rongrong's love for him in the past was too humble. She had changed too much for him. Now that he thought about it, he was really touched. At the same time, he also felt a little guilty. In the future, you don't have to deliberately cater to me to please me. Be your truest self. Now, I like your true self more. Gently stroking Ning Rongrong's cheek, Lu Yuan said softly. My truest self, the little witch. Are you sure you want me to become the original little witch? Aren't you afraid of your harem being set on fire? Ning Rongrong looked at Lu Yuan and asked with a faint smile. This. Hearing those words, Lu Yuan was at a loss for words. He had actually forgotten about this. Poochie. Looking at Lu Yuan's expression, Ning Rongrong burst into laughter and said, I'm just teasing you. I've already restrained myself into a habit. The lawless little witch from before can't change back. Phew. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. If Ning Rongrong really became the little witch from before, it would be a headache for him. Little girl, how dare you scare me? Watch how I deal with you. Lu Yuan looked around with a trace of a mischievous smile on his face. Then come at me. Ning Rongrong puffed out her chest and said fearlessly. Hehe, then I'm coming. Lu Yuan chuckled. The next day, 6:45 in the morning, Heaven Do Imperial Palace. At this moment, several figures were gathered in the Snowy Night Emperor's chambers. The Snowy Night Emperor was lying quietly on the bed without any movement. His face was green, his lips were a faint purple, and his breathing was almost undetectable. He was like a candle in the wind, unable to hold on for much longer. He could die at any moment. What kind of poison did you put in the Emperor? Why is it so strange? Looking at the Snowy Night Emperor on the bed, Ning Fengji couldn't help but ask. It's just a kind of mixed poison from the Po clan. Very few people in the world can detoxify it. This is a slow-acting poison with a very long incubation period. Moreover, it's very difficult to detect before the poison takes effect. The Snowy Night Emperor has been poisoned for 5 or 6 years. It's just that the poison has completely exploded now. Lu Yuan said faintly. He didn't hide anything from Ning Fengji. After all, now that he had pledged his allegiance, there was no need to hide these things from him. No wonder the Emperor's health has been deteriorating in recent years. It's because he was poisoned by you. There's also the Po clan. Since this poison came from them, they must have the antidote. That's why you got rid of them and the other 3 clans. It's to prevent any accidents that might cause the Snowy Night Emperor's poison to be detoxified. Ning Fengji said loudly with a look of realization on his face. That's right, that's indeed the case. Uncle Ning is indeed a smart person. You can think of all the causes and effects with just a hint. I'm impressed. Lu Yuan cupped his hands and said with a chuckle. Don't mention smart people to me. If I'm really so smart, how can I still be complacent when I'm being played by you? Boy, your means are extraordinary. I've never suffered such a big loss in my life. But don't be happy too early. This matter isn't over yet. Sooner or later, I'll get back this debt. Ning Fengji said loudly. Although he was now on the same side as Lu Yuan and naturally couldn't make trouble in major matters, it wasn't impossible for him to make a small scheme and let Lu Yuan suffer a small loss. He, Ning Fengji, would definitely get his revenge. Is that so? Then I'll accompany you to the end. I hope you can fight a little more. If it's too easy to be solved by me, then it'll be boring. Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. Temph, just wait and see. Ning Fengji snorted. He was determined to go against Lu Yuan. He had to make Lu Yuan suffer a setback. He wanted to let Lu Yuan know that he, Ning Fengji, wasn't a useless person. Chapter 890. Haha, then I'll wait and see. Lu Yuan chuckled, not taking Ning Fengji's bold words to heart. Now that Ning Rongrong was by his side, without her causing trouble, he was confident that he could scheme against Ning Fengji. You want to get back at him? Impossible, you will never get back at him in this lifetime. You will only lose more miserably the more you fight. Just wait to tremble in fear. Lu Yuan secretly said in his heart. What do you plan to do next? Ning Fengji looked at Lu Yuan and asked. What else can I do? Of course, I'll send the Snowy Night Emperor to heaven. Since he's already half dead, we might as well solve the problem and then put Cher on the throne. The entire Heaven-Do Empire will be in our hands. Lu Yuan said indifferently. You're quite decisive now, but the time is indeed ripe. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow said softly. It's already ripe. Prince Xuexing and Avalanche have already been killed by us. Now, the entire Heaven-Do imperial family only has you as the heir. It'll be a waste of time if we delay any longer. What do you think, Uncle Ning? Lu Yuan asked. You've already arranged everything so well, what else can I say? However, the Heaven-Do Empire's Marshal Ji Long is also loyal to the Heaven-Do imperial family. Although Chihiro Snow now controls the military, this person cannot be underestimated. He has great power in the military. If he has any ulterior motives, it'll be troublesome. After all, the Snowy Night Emperor is critically ill and has died in an avalanche. Although your arrangements are quite thorough, it may arouse the suspicion of others. This Ji Long is also a person with wisdom and strategy. Although he is not as good as Lin Yuanjun, who you killed before, he is not far behind. If we don't solve his problem, he may become a hidden danger. Ning Fengji said. Uncle Ning's reminder is good. It seems like you didn't hide anything. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Since I've already decided to join you, I naturally won't hide anything. Our 7 Treasures glazed sect has to contribute something, right? Otherwise, if we enjoy such treatment for no reason, even if it's because of Rongrong and you, it's inevitable that there will be disharmony in the Martial Soul Palace. Ning Fengji said. Discordant voices. Chihiro Snow found it somewhat funny and said, Sect Master Ning, you've been deceived by this guy again. Right now, the Martial Soul Palace is under his control. Even Bibidon wouldn't oppose his words. Who in the Martial Soul Palace would dare to have any objections to his words? In that case, when he said that he couldn't stop Bibidon from destroying the 7 Treasures glazed sect, it was also a lie. Ning Fengji asked. Of course, the weight of his words now is no less than Bibidon's. How could he not be able to stop it? He is fully in charge of these matters. Chihiro Snow said with a smile. Now that what was done couldn't be undone, it didn't matter whether he concealed it or not, so Chihiro Snow didn't mind saying it. My goodness, I've been fooled by you again. Ning Fengji gritted his teeth slightly. He didn't expect that he would be deceived by Lu Yuan again. Don't be angry. You'll get used to it. This kind of thing will happen a lot in the future. Didn't you want to fight with me to the end? Lu Yuan said with a smile. Very good. Ning Fengji clenched his fists and said with gritted teeth. Of course I'm good. Do I need you to tell me that? By the way, last night, Rongrong said that she didn't want to go back these days, and she didn't want to see her hateful father again. Uncle Ning, what do you think? Are you very happy? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Ning Fengji's face darkened slightly. Looking at Lu Yuan's mischievous smile, he really wanted to punch him. How could he be happy when his dear little cotton-padded jacket resented him so much? Especially when this little bastard in front of him was fanning the flames everywhere. He was really hateful. Oh, Uncle Ning doesn't seem very happy. Is it because Rongrong is so hostile to you that you feel uncomfortable in your heart? If Uncle Ning wants to eliminate Rongrong's resentment towards you, I think I can help you. Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. Are you that kind? Ning Fengji looked at Lu Yuan with suspicious eyes. This kid didn't look like a good person. Of course I'm not that kind. Even if I was kind, I wouldn't give it to you. I have a condition. Lu Yuan said with a smile. What condition? Ning Fengji asked. Beg me. If you beg me, I'll help you. Lu Yuan said with a soft smile with his hands behind his back. Creak. Ning Fengji's face suddenly darkened. He clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles cracked. It was absolutely impossible for him to beg this little bastard. If you don't want to, then forget it. It's really a pity that I can't see Uncle Ning begging for help. Alas. Lu Yuan sighed with a regretful expression, causing Ning Fengji's face to darken even more. Ning Fengji, who had always been gentle and intelligent, met Lu Yuan as if he had met his natural enemy. Just a few words from him could completely destroy Ning Fengji's many years of bearing and self-restraint. These two old and young foxes really wanted to fight each other as soon as they met. Okay, stop fooling around. How do you plan to deal with Ji Long? Looking at Lu Yuan, Chihiro Snow asked softly. Actually, I already have a plan for this Ji Long. He's a good talent. It's a pity to kill him. In the future, when we go to war with Star Luo, we'll still need him. So, I've already asked Elder Long to capture him. When the time comes, we'll directly tamper with his memory and then control him. It's very safe. Lu Yuan said softly. His words made Ning Fengji tremble. This guy actually has the ability to tamper with memories. It's really incredible. To be honest, he really can't help but feel a trace of fear towards Lu Yuan from the bottom of his heart. If that's the case, then it's also a good way to deal with it. I'll leave it to you. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow said in a warm voice. Leave it to me. Lu Yuan nodded and said. As for now, it's time to get down to business. Lu Yuan said softly, then snapped his fingers. The golden crocodile and the rest appeared beside them. Elder Snake Spear, go and send the Snowy Night Emperor off. If he can die at the hands of a titled Douluo, he's worthy of his status as the Heaven Do Emperor. Lu Yuan said plainly. Yes, Your Highness. The Snake Spear Douluo acknowledged. He took 2 steps forward and came beside the Snowy Night Emperor's bed. He picked up a pillow and covered the Snowy Night Emperor's mouth and nose. Very soon, the Snowy Night Emperor, who was already on the brink of death, was sent to the afterlife. Seeing this scene, Ning Fengji couldn't help but sigh softly. The emperor of an empire has actually passed away just like that. How sad. Following the Snowy Night Emperor's death, the Heaven Do Empire has truly perished. Ning Fengji thought to himself. Chapter 891. The Snowy Night Emperor had passed away. This piece of news swept through the entire Heaven Do Imperial City in a short amount of time. Many powers were shocked by this news, but they quickly recovered. After all, the Snowy Night Emperor had been in poor health for a long time. It was normal for someone who was already beyond cure to suddenly pass away. However, some people couldn't help but sigh. This period of time had been very eventful. First, the Clear Sky sect and the Blue Lightning Tyrant Dragon sect had been destroyed. Then, the 4 great families had been destroyed. Now, even the Snowy Night Emperor had passed away. With so many things happening at once, the entire continent was in turmoil. The Snowy Night Emperor had passed away, but the empire couldn't go a day without a ruler. With the support of Lu Yuan, the Dragon King Palace Lord, the Golden Dragon Duke, Ning Fengji, the Grand Tutor of the Crown Prince, the sect leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed sect, and the general of the 3 armies, Ji Long, whose memories had been tampered with, Qian Renxue officially ascended to the throne of the Heaven Do Empire and was given the title of Emperor Qing He. Chihiro Snow's ascension to the throne went very smoothly. No one objected. Firstly, he was the only remaining prince, so he was the rightful heir to the throne. Secondly, he had the support of Lu Yuan, Ning Fengji, and the commander of the 3 armies, so no one dared to oppose him unless they were stupid. However, it was clear that the ministers of the Heaven Do Empire weren't very smart, but they weren't stupid enough to court death. Everyone also acknowledged this new great Emperor Clear River as their new leader. Heaven Do Imperial Palace, inside a spacious palace. Great Emperor Clear River, this title sounds pretty good. Lu Yuan sat on a chair and played with a teacup in his hands. He looked at Chihiro Snow and smiled. What's so good about it? You're already the emperor, but you still have to pretend. Isn't it shameful? Chihiro Snow took a sip of tea and said indifferently, I know you don't feel good, but for the sake of the Martial Spirit Palace's plan, you have to bear with it for a while longer. Once your throne is stabilized and you have all the power in your hands, the Martial Spirit Palace will be able to infiltrate and control the entire Heaven's Dipper. At that time, you can announce that you're a woman. Lu Yuan said softly. I know what I should do. I just want to complain when I see you. Chihiro Snow whispered. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. Chihiro Snow was complaining to him, relying on his performance. You must have been very busy these past few days. Ascension, mourning, appointment and dismissal of officials. You must have put in a lot of effort. Lu Yuan asked with concern. You know that too. Why didn't you come and help me? Chihiro Snow complained. I can't help you with that. Do you want me to accompany you on your ascension and mourning? I don't care, but what will others think? Plus, Emperor Snowy Night is nothing. He's not worthy of me mourning for him. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Yes. Grand Palace Master Lu is of noble status. Emperor Snowy Night is naturally not worthy of you mourning for him. Chihiro Snow said with a smile. Of course. It would be better if it was your grandfather. Lu Yuan said. Bah, what nonsense are you talking about? Are you cursing my grandfather to death? He's in good health. He can live for another 100 years at least. Chihiro Snow spat at Lu Yuan and stared at Lu Yuan with his golden eyes. Lu Yuan smiled and didn't say anything. Sendryu could live for another 100 years. Even if he couldn't, he would probably die in a few years. The 9th test of the angel exam would be his death date. However, that didn't mean that he couldn't be revived. When he was brought to the God realm, he might even be able to live forever. Lu Yuan thought to himself. By the way, Cher, has the reward for the 4th test been announced? Lu Yuan asked. It has been announced. For completing the task 2 years in advance, the reward will be doubled. Angel affinity will be increased by 20%. Currently, the total angel affinity is 50%. That's all? Lu Yuan asked. That's all. Chihiro Snow nodded and said. So stingy. Lu Yuan shook his head and said disdainfully. The dignified angel god was actually so stingy. Other than angel affinity, there were no other rewards. What about your reward? Chihiro Snow asked curiously. Increase the age of all my soul rings by 5,000 years. That's the only reward. Lu Yuan said indifferently. That should be pretty good. Chihiro Snow said. Increasing the age of all soul rings by 5,000 years was already a huge improvement. Pretty good my ass. It's useless to me. Which of my soul rings isn't at least 500,000 years? What's the use of a mere 5,000 years? It's nothing. Lu Yuan said indifferently. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow was slightly speechless. She forgot that the guy in front of her was a big pervert. He probably didn't care about this little reward. Have you received the content of the 5th test? Looking at Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask. Not yet. What about you? Chihiro Snow asked. Of course I haven't, but I'm really curious about the 5th test. Lu Yuan laughed softly. I'm also very curious. I hope it's not too difficult. Chihiro Snow bit her red lips and said. I'm here, what's there to be afraid of? Lu Yuan said gently. That's true. Chihiro Snow smiled. With this guy around, there was indeed no need to be afraid of these things. Since the 5th test hasn't been released yet, we don't have to be anxious. It's more important to help you stabilize your regime first. When your regime is stable, I'll prepare to bring them to the Sea God's Island and help Zhuqing obtain the Sea God's inheritance first. Lu Yuan said gently. Yen, it's good that we can obtain the Sea God's inheritance. This way, we'll have one more person who can become a god and our strength will increase. Chihiro Snow nodded and said. That's the reason. Furthermore, the trial on the Sea God's Island can also allow Zhuqing and Nana to grow faster. Their progress is still a little slower than ours. Lu Yuan smiled faintly. Slow. I remember that Hulena is about to become a soul sage. Didn't you give her the crystal blood ginseng from the Minji clan? She should be rank 69 now, right? That's not fast. Furthermore, when she becomes a soul sage, she'll have 2 talent domains. That's one more than me. Chihiro Snow said indifferently. Are you feeling pressured? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. A little. You're too good to them. Each of them has endless opportunities and their progress is very fast. To be honest, I'm a little jealous. Chihiro Snow said with some hidden bitterness. Is that so? Then I'll make it up to you. Lu Yuan's lips curled into a mischievous smile. He left his seat and came to Chihiro Snow's side and hugged him. Chapter 892. What do you want to do? Being picked up by Lu Yuan, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but exclaim. Compensate you. Lu Yuan said with a smirk. What kind of compensation is this? You want to take advantage of me? Rolling her eyes at Lu Yuan, Chihiro Snow said snappily. Hehe, whatever you say, anyway, I've already picked you up, it's impossible for me to put you down. Lu Yuan said with a faint smile. Rogue. Chihiro Snow secretly spat, hammered Lu Yuan's chest with her pink fist, and said, It's broad daylight, you only know how to mess around. What do you mean mess around? And I only have time during the day, there are other people waiting at night. Lu Yuan said softly. Bastard, you can say this kind of thing so confidently. Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow hammered Lu Yuan's chest again and said coquettishly. Is this the first day you know me? And you called me a rogue, I naturally have to be a rogue in front of you. And haven't you always wanted children? I'm giving you a chance. Lu Yuan said lightly. Children? Yes, I'm almost 23, I should have had children long ago. Can I get pregnant? Chihiro Snow asked. I'm afraid I have to try more, my bloodline is too strong. Lu Yuan said. Well, then you do it. Nodding, Chihiro Snow said softly. In order to have a child, she went all out. So what if it's broad daylight? She doesn't care. Then I'll do it, I'm very interested in the new empress. Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. I knew you wouldn't be serious. Qian Runxue rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan coquettishly again, curled her lips and said. Hee hee. Lu Yuan laughed and walked to the bed with Chihiro Snow in his arms. The golden wind and the morning dew are countless times better than the human world. After Chihiro Snow succeeded the throne, he began to place his confidants in the major departments, and at the same time, eliminate some stubborn people, and began to grasp the power of the country in his hands. This was a very energy-consuming and time-consuming thing, but fortunately, with the help of Lu Yuan and Ning Fengji, and the deterrence of the 3 armies of the Heaven Do Empire, these things were carried out quite smoothly. In the blink of an eye, 4 months. In these 4 months, Qian Runshue's regime had been completely stabilized, and the situation could be said to be very good. Lu Yuan could finally let go of his hands and feet. On this day, Lu Yuan finally took some time out to prepare for an important matter. There were 2 figures standing silently in the icefire yin-yang well. The man wore a set of white robes, and his long hair draped over his shoulders. His robes fluttered in the wind, and he exuded an otherworldly aura. The woman wore a long silver dress, and she had a graceful figure. She had silver hair and purple eyes, and her exquisite features were flawless. She was a perfect woman. If the man was like a celestial being, then the woman was like a goddess. The 2 of them were a match made in heaven. These 2 were naturally Lu Yuan and Jiyu Yuana. Is this the icefire yin-yang well? Jiyu Yuana asked in a low voice as she looked at the strange spring water that was half red and half white. This is the icefire yin-yang well. Legend has it that it was nourished by the dragon corpses of the Fire Dragon King and the Water Dragon King. Lu Yuan replied. I know. I can already sense their auras. Jiyu Yuana nodded as a hint of sorrow appeared on her beautiful face. These were all her brethren, and they were no ordinary brethren. She was one of the 2 clones of the Dragon God, and the Water Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King were both created by the Dragon God. They were actually quite close. Don't be too sad. The dead are gone, but we're still here. As long as we're here, the Dragon Clan will rise again sooner or later, Lu Yuan said in a soft voice as he held onto Jiyu Yuana's hand. Yes. Jiyu Yuana nodded as she held onto Lu Yuan's hand. She felt very at ease with Lu Yuan by her side. Let's go down. There's a strange space 10,000 meters below the icefire yin-yang well. The corpses of the Water Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King are there. Lu Yuan pointed at the icefire yin-yang well down below in a warm voice. Yes. Jiyu Yuana nodded again. She pointed a finger forward, and the spring water in the icefire yin-yang well surged as a deep hole appeared. The 2 of them stepped into the hole at the same time. The spring water in the icefire yin-yang well was extremely powerful. It contained the power of extreme ice and extreme fire, and normal people wouldn't be able to withstand it. However, Jiyu Yuana and Lu Yuan weren't normal people. Jiyu Yuana was the Silver Dragon King, the ancestor of all elemental soul beasts in the world, and she also had a true god body, so this little bit of spring water posed no threat to her. Lu Yuan was the same. He had a body that was impervious to fire and water, and now that he possessed the bloodline of the 5-clawed Golden Dragon King, his physical body was extremely powerful, and he was also adept at controlling the elements. He knew a little about water, fire, wind, and lightning, and there was most likely no one in the world who could defeat him, not even Jiyu Yuana. As such, this icefire yin-yang well posed no threat to him at all. After the 2 of them entered the icefire yin-yang well, they quickly descended. Boundless spring water surged around them, and they were surrounded by a world of fiery red and white. As time passed, the 2 of them descended deeper and deeper, and the pressure around them also became greater and greater. In the end, the pressure was so great that even Lu Yuan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. This was because even he could feel a great amount of pressure. It was a pressure that normal titled Douluo couldn't resist. Even with Long Xiaoyao's physical strength, he might not be able to withstand it. It was indeed a treasure bowl formed by the burial ground of the Fire and Water Dragon Kings. It was indeed extraordinary. After a long while, when the surrounding spring water had become a little sticky, Lu Yuan and Jiyu Yuana finally touched that strange space. Pop! Like a bubble that had been popped, Jiyu Yuana waved her hand and extended her body, and Lu Yuan and Jiyu Yuana barged into that space. Instantly, the scene in front of them opened up. This was a huge basin, and there were 2 huge skeletons in the center of the basin. One of them was icy blue, while the other was fiery red. Both of the skeletons were hundreds of meters in size, and contained a tyrannical pressure. It was dragon's might, and it belonged to the Dragon Clan. From the moment they entered this place, Lu Yuan could feel a trace of resonance and calling in his bloodline. Lu Yuan's five-clawed Golden Dragon King bloodline was a brand new bloodline formed by fusing the true dragon bloodline with the second-generation Golden Dragon bloodline's essence. Therefore, there was some connection between him and the Fire and Water Dragon Kings. After all, the second-generation Golden Dragon and the 9 Great Dragon Kings all originated from the Dragon God. Although the strength of Lu Yuan's bloodline had far surpassed that of the Dragon God, this connection was still there. Chapter 893. Are these the corpses of the Water Dragon King and the Fire Dragon King? They've been dead for so many years, yet they still possess such powerful dragon might, as expected of a powerful being comparable to a first-tier god. Lu Yuan heaved a faint sigh at the sight of the 2 massive dragon corpses. They were very powerful to begin with, but we were still outnumbered during that war. Even though they were powerful and were able to gain the upper hand against first-tier gods of the same cultivation level, they still perished one after another when they were besieged. Among the mythological beasts that participated in the War of Gods, I'm afraid only the Golden Dragon King and I are still alive. Di Tian was only able to survive because he was too young and weak, but in any case, the only soul beasts with pure dragon bloodlines are me and Di Tian. Gu Yuana's voice was filled with grief and disappointment, as well as immense hatred that was difficult to conceal. Gu Yuana abhorred all of the gods of the divine realm, especially the Azura god and the other gods. Gu Yuana wanted nothing more than to kill them. Even though the first-generation Azura god had already perished, the Azura god was still alive. Don't forget about me, I'm also a dragon, Lu Yuan said as he squeezed Gu Yuana's hand. You're a dragon, but you're not a soul beast, and you don't seem to be a human, either. As Gu Yuana spoke, she couldn't help but chuckle in her grief. If I'm not a soul beast and not a human, then what am I? Lu Yuan grumbled as he looked at Gu Yuana. You're a freak. Gu Yuana replied. Lu Yuan grunted, expressing his dissatisfaction. At the same time, he gently tickled Gu Yuana's waist with his right hand, and Gu Yuana couldn't help but chuckle as her grief dissipated significantly. Tell me, what am I? You are my man, okay? Gu Yuana grabbed Lu Yuan's naughty hand and said coquettishly. That's more like it. Lu Yuan smiled as he stroked Gu Yuana's disheveled silver hair with a gentle look in his eyes. Are you feeling a lot better? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Yes. Gu Yuana gave a soft hum. After Lu Yuan made such a fuss, the heaviness in her heart had already disappeared without a trace. Sometimes, this man was really considerate of women. You're so nice. Looking at Lu Yuan, Gu Yuana said softly. Since you know I'm good, then hurry up and get engaged. Then, give birth to a little dragon god with me. I've been waiting for you for the past few months. I really want your body. Lu Yuan blinked his eyes, looking eager. It's not that I don't want you to touch it. You're the one who doesn't want to touch it. Why are you blaming me? Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Gu Yuana couldn't help but laugh. I'm just thinking of settling the relationship with you first. Otherwise, it would be too unfair for you. The rest of them have already settled the relationship with me, but you haven't. I can't treat you badly, right? Lu Yuan said. Bibidon didn't have one either. Didn't you eat her too? Gu Yuana said. She's a little special. Her situation is different from yours. You can't generalize. When the time comes, I will marry her directly. Lu Yuan said softly. Oh. Gu Yuana nodded her head as if she understood. Don't say oh. Let's get down to business. Call those 2 guys out. They've been peeping. Do they really think I didn't notice? Lu Yuan glanced at the 2 huge skeletons with his polychoria eyes and said indifferently. Indeed, it's time to call them out. They're still hiding in front of me. Gu Yuana said softly. Her purple eyes exuded an oppressive majesty. Still not coming out. Gu Yuana shouted. Suddenly, the ice blue light spots and the fiery red light spots condensed on the 2 huge dragon corpses. Then, 2 huge illusory dragon shadows appeared in front of the 2 people. It was the remnant soul of the Water and Fire Dragon King. Gu Yuana controlled the elemental power of the dragon god, which could be said to be the natural enemy of the water and fire dragon king. Under the pressure, these two guys couldn't hide anymore and ran out directly. Silver Dragon King. The water and fire dragon king shouted at the same time. Shouldn't you be referring to her as your master? The dragon god has already perished. As one of the dragon god's avatars, you should be referring to her as your master. Lu Yuan said in an indifferent voice. Who are you? How dare you meddle in the affairs of our dragon race? The fire dragon king roared upon hearing Lu Yuan's words. Human? I don't think so. However, you seem to possess the bloodline of the golden dragon king. The water dragon king said in an indifferent voice. Golden dragon king? That's nothing. Can you sense it again? Lu Yuan chuckled. He no longer concealed his bloodline and aura as he unleashed them in an unbridled manner. The bloodline of the five-clawed golden dragon king was extremely pure. Even Gu Yuana was feeling a sense of oppression from its aura, let alone the water and fire dragon king, who had already perished many years ago. As of now, their remnant souls were only comparable to limit Douluo's at most. On top of that, they didn't have physical bodies, so they were trembling uncontrollably in the face of Lu Yuan's bloodline aura. What a terrifying bloodline aura! The fire dragon king's remnant soul was trembling violently. This bloodline aura has already surpassed that of the dragon god. The water dragon king's remnant soul was also trembling violently. There was a hint of incredulity in its voice. How could there be someone in this world whose bloodline aura surpassed that of the dragon god? This was simply impossible. However, the truth was right in front of them. Lu Yuan's bloodline was definitely superior to that of the dragon god. No one understood the dragon god's aura better than the 9 dragon kings. They were created by the dragon god himself, and they were born even earlier than the gold and silver dragon kings. In reality, the gold and silver dragon kings had only been born after the dragon god had perished. Gu Yuana could only imagine the dragon god's aura through the memories that she had inherited. However, the water and fire dragon kings had personally experienced it, so it was naturally even more unforgettable. As such, they were even more affected by Lu Yuan's aura. How do you feel? Lu Yuan asked with a faint smile. For the dragon tribe, the bloodline determined everything. Lu Yuan's high-class dragon tribe bloodline pressure could be said to have caused the fire and water dragon king's soul fragment to involuntarily tremble. Alright, retract your aura. If you continue to release it, their remnant souls won't be able to take it anymore. Gu Yuana said gently. Got it. However, these two are too weak. Speaking of which, are they really qualified to be my 5-clawed golden dragon king's soul rings? Lu Yuan retracted his bloodline aura and looked at Gu Yuana as he asked in a faint voice. It's enough. Their remnant souls don't actually have much energy. All of their energy is in their divine cause. However, as long as they are willing to sacrifice themselves, you can perfectly absorb the energy in their divine cause. This will be very beneficial to you. Gu Yuana said. But do you think they will be willing to sacrifice themselves? Lu Yuan asked in a faint voice. Chapter 894. I think they're willing to do the sacrifice. After all, it's an opportunity for them to come back to life. They can inject their remnant souls into their soul rings. Your martial soul has been nourished by the clear chi divine power all year round. Their remnant souls will also be nourished. The clear chi divine power is very mysterious. After being nourished for a long time, they might be able to come back to life. Gu Yuana said gently. Hearing that, Lu Yuan nodded slightly. Gu Yuana's words were quite reasonable. Gu Yuana didn't hide her voice, and the water and fire dragon kings heard it clearly. Their emotions couldn't help but fluctuate. Silver Dragon King, are you serious? Give this kid. Hearing the Fire Dragon King's name, Lu Yuan couldn't help but frown. Gu Yuana glanced directly at it. Her purple eyes exuded a terrifying pressure, and it immediately swallowed the second half of its words. Silver Dragon King, is what you said true? If we give this person a sacrifice, will we still have a chance to come back to life? The Water Dragon King said softly, and its crisp voice sounded. The Water Dragon King's voice was very pleasant, and Lu Yuan couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He didn't pay attention before, but now he realized that the Water Dragon King seemed to be a female. The Water Dragon King is a female? Lu Yuan looked at Jiu Yuana. Yes, it is a female. But why are you paying attention to this? Jiu Yuana asked indifferently. Hihi, I'm just curious. Lu Yuan laughed. Jiu Yuana looked suspiciously at Lu Yuan. After a while, she looked away and turned to the Water Dragon King. Of course I'm telling the truth. As long as you give him a sacrifice, there's a very high chance of coming back to life. It's not 100%, but there's an 80% chance. Furthermore, he is also the hope of our dragon race. Whether or not he can overthrow the god realm and allow us soul beasts to rise to power will ultimately depend on him. You have all felt the pressure of his bloodline, so there should be no need to doubt how high he will grow in the future. As the dragon kings of the dragon race, it's time for all of you to contribute to the rise of the dragon race. I know that the 9 of you are only loyal to the dragon god, and you don't even pay any heed to me or the Golden Dragon King. I'm not asking you to listen to me, but the rise of the dragon race is the responsibility of the entire dragon race, and all of you are no exception. Jiu Yuana said seriously. The Water and Fire Dragon Kings fell silent. Jiu Yuana's words made sense. As a member of the dragon race, it was their responsibility to contribute their last bit of warmth to the dragon race. Moreover, Lu Yuan's bloodline was indeed terrifying, far surpassing that of the dragon god. Perhaps when he grew up in the future, he would be a powerhouse even more powerful than the dragon god. The future of the dragon race indeed fell on him. Moreover, they also had an 80% chance of reviving. Needless to say, even the Fire and Water Dragon Kings were tempted. Looking at Lu Yuan, the Water Dragon King asked, "What rank are you now?" The current Lu Yuan's bloodline was strange, and with the addition of his false god body, the Water Dragon King's remnant soul couldn't see his true strength at all. Rank 77 Soul Sage. Lu Yuan said softly. During these 4 months, Lu Yuan's soul power didn't increase because he had been polishing his soul power. After 4 months, his soul power and strength had skyrocketed, and he could once again control and use them as he wished. Although his soul power didn't increase, his combat strength had increased by another step. If he fought with Sendryu again, Sendryu wouldn't use his divine power, and he wouldn't use the god-slaying spear. He was confident that he could defeat Sendryu. This improvement wasn't small at all. You're only a rank 77 Soul Sage, but your aura is comparable to that of an ultimate Douluo. You're indeed a prodigy with peerless talent. In addition to your bloodline, I can indeed see the future of the Dragon Clan in you. However, I'm a little worried. If we sacrifice ourselves for you, will you really be able to fight wholeheartedly for the Dragon Clan? Even though you have a terrifying dragon bloodline, I can tell that you're not a pure soul beast. I can't fully trust you. The Water Dragon King said. That's right, Little Water is right. I can't completely trust you either unless you can give me strong evidence. The Fire Dragon King added. Evidence. Hearing their words, Lu Yuan's eyes turned to Jiu Yuana, who was next to him. He wrapped his arms around her slender waist and sealed her red lips. I, Lu Yuan, am the man of the Silver Dragon King Jiu Yuana. Is this enough evidence? Releasing Jiu Yuana's red lips, Lu Yuan stared at the 2 dragons and said calmly. It's enough. I don't trust you, but I trust the Silver Dragon King. The Water Dragon King said. As the avatar of the dragon god, Jiu Yuana was the most authoritative representative of the dragon race when the Golden Dragon King wasn't around. The Water Dragon King naturally trusted her. Since Lu Yuan was her man, it naturally believed in Lu Yuan. What about you? Lu Yuan asked the Fire Dragon King. I naturally believe in you too. But you're quite capable. You were able to get the Silver Dragon King. Impressive. The Fire Dragon King said with admiration. Of course I'm good. Lu Yuan chuckled as he wrapped his arm around Jiu Yuana's waist. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Jiu Yuana rolled her eyes but didn't refute. You're rank 77 now. I'm afraid the sacrifice will take some time. Although we can use the energy of the sacrifice to forcefully increase your soul power, it won't be good for your future. Furthermore, our remnant souls rely on the god's core and the dragon corpses here to survive. We can't move at will, so we won't be able to do it this time. Maybe we'll have to wait until the next time you come. The Water Dragon King thought for a moment and said softly, Can't move at will? That's not a problem. I have a clear spirit seed in my sea of consciousness. It's good at nourishing souls. You can bring the god's core into my sea of consciousness. This way, not only can your remnant souls survive, but you can also get more benefits. As for coming here again, forget it. What if I'm far away and have to come here when I need a soul ring? Isn't that a pure waste of time? So you guys should come with me. Lu Yuan said. Are you serious? The Fire Dragon King asked. Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? Your remnant souls will dissipate in advance. Without your soul rings, I'll be the one who will suffer the greatest loss. Lu Yuan said plainly. That's true, the Water Dragon King said. The Water Dragon King agreed. Lu Yuan's words made sense. He had no reason to lie to them. It's a deal, then. Our remnant souls will enter your sea of consciousness with our divine cores. You can absorb our soul bones first and increase your strength before we talk about anything else. The Fire Dragon King made the decision. Chapter 895. The dragon race's actions were indeed swift and decisive. They were not sloppy at all. This was vividly reflected by the Fire Dragon King. After listening to Lu Yuan's explanation, the Fire Dragon King felt that it was feasible, and immediately made the decision. Lu Yuan admired the Fire Dragon King's decisiveness and straightforwardness. Soul beasts were very different from humans. They didn't care about the so-called hesitation. Once they made a decision, they didn't hesitate at all. In this aspect, soul beasts were much better than most humans. After absorbing your soul bones, your remnant souls should start to dissipate, right? Lu Yuan asked softly. Yes. The main reason why our remnant souls are still alive is because of our god cores and soul bones. The energy in this huge dragon corpse has already dissipated and nourished the spring water outside. Once you absorb our soul bones, we have to quickly enter your sea of consciousness. Otherwise, our remnant souls will be damaged. The Water Dragon King said. Little Water is right. That is indeed the case, the Fire Dragon King chimed in. Since that's the case, let's wait for a while to absorb the soul bones. There's something I want to ask you to bear witness to. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed as he spoke softly. What is it? The Water Dragon King asked curiously. The Fire Dragon King also became spirited. Its dragon eyes stared in Lu Yuan's direction. I want to propose to the Silver Dragon King Jiu Yuana here. At the same time, we also want to get engaged. I want you to bear witness. After all, you are the only ones in the world who are qualified to bear witness to our marriage. Lu Yuan spoke softly. His eyes shifted to Jiu Yuana. He looked into her mysterious and noble purple eyes. His eyes were filled with love. Will you marry me? Lu Yuan knelt on one knee and held Jiu Yuana's right hand. His expression was full of sincerity, and his voice was filled with deep emotions. After coming to the Douluo continent for so long, this was the first time he had proposed. Jiu Yuana could be said to be the first person to enjoy such treatment. This type of proposal wasn't popular on the Douluo continent, but it was undoubtedly the case that Jiu Yuana was more moved by this type of proposal. Chihiro Snow, Hu Lena, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ning Rongrong all had their elders as witnesses and blessings. Only Jiu Yuana did not. Only the Water and Fire Dragon Kings were still remnant souls. This proposal was undoubtedly Lu Yuan's way of compensating Jiu Yuana. I can marry you, but after marrying you, what will you do to me? Jiu Yuana's purple eyes blinked, revealing a trace of craftiness. Her heart was actually very willing, but she was very happy right now. She wanted to tease Lu Yuan, and she also wanted to hear Lu Yuan's good words to coax her. After all, she was a woman. She also liked sweet words. This had nothing to do with her identity. How should I treat you? How should I treat you like the apple of my eye? Lu Yuan said with a smile. No, you're not being specific enough. I want to hear something more specific, Jiu Yuana said. Be more specific. When you're happy, I'll share your happiness with you. When you're sad, I'll help you heal your wounds. When you're helpless, I'll give you a shoulder to lean on. When you encounter a strong enemy, I'll stand in front of you and shield you from the wind and rain. When you're overwhelmed by the heavy burden, I'll take over your burden and share it with you. Is that detailed enough? Oh, I forgot something. I can also relieve your boredom when you're lonely and give you the deepest comfort. A hint of a mischievous smile appeared on Lu Yuan's face as he spoke. You're being naughty again. Jiu Yuana rolled her eyes at Lu Yuan and then took a step forward. She looked at Lu Yuan with her purple eyes and her red lips parted slightly as a pleasant voice came out. I'm willing to marry you. I hope you'll treat me as well as you promised. Don't let me down. Jiu Yuana's voice was gentle and pleasant to the ear, causing deep ripples to arise in Lu Yuan's heart. I will. I'll treat you well for the rest of my life, and I'll never let you down. Lu Yuan stood up and pulled Jiu Yuana into his arms. Then, he leaned forward and kissed Jiu Yuana's tender lips. Jiu Yuana didn't avoid him. Instead, she welcomed him. Their lips met, and the two of them released the passion in their hearts. Is this the love that those human gods talked about? Although those human gods are hateful, love is quite wonderful. Look at the Silver Dragon King, he seems to feel joy from the bottom of his heart, and he's so gentle. It's incredible. Is this still the noble, majestic, and cold Silver Dragon King from back then? Looking at the passionate kiss between Lu Yuan and Jiu Yuana, the Water Dragon King couldn't help but sigh with a hint of surprise in his tone. What's so strange about love? I don't understand. What I'm thinking is that since the Silver Dragon King and this kid have a descendant, their descendant must be very talented, and his bloodline is definitely above the dragon god. And the most important thing is that the son of the Silver Dragon King has an orthodox identity. Although this kid's dragon bloodline is extremely terrifying, his identity is not orthodox after all. The Fire Dragon King said. What a stubborn fool. But what you said is right. The descendant of the Silver Dragon King and this kid is indeed more suitable to lead the soul beasts and dragons. The Water Dragon King nodded and said. But it's not easy to inherit the pure bloodline of the dragons, so we need to urge them more. This is a big matter related to the inheritance of the dragon bloodline, and we can't be careless. The Water Dragon King added. Lu Yuan and Jiu Yuana kissed very passionately. Naturally, they didn't know that the Water and Fire Dragon King was already preparing to induce labor. Of course, even if they knew, they wouldn't be affected. Lu Yuan had always said that he would give birth to a little dragon god. If she could really get pregnant, it would be a good thing. But this kind of thing depended on luck after all, and it couldn't be forced. Gently biting Jiu Yuana's lips again, Lu Yuan moved his head slightly. His double pupils and Jiu Yuana's purple pupils looked straight at each other. Just after the kiss, Jiu Yuana's purple pupils were rippling like autumn water. It was very moving and very beautiful. Look. Lu Yuan smiled slightly and waved his hand. A golden reverse scale appeared in his hand. The reverse scale was golden and there was an extremely terrifying dragon aura exuding from it. What's this? Jiu Yuana asked with a hint of surprise at the sight of the reverse scale. This is the Golden Dragon King's reverse scale. After I refined it with my own blood essence, it's already connected to my bloodline. I don't have anything else on me, and you won't be able to use ordinary items. Let's use this as our engagement token. Lu Yuan handed the Golden Dragon King reverse scale to Jiu Yuana as he spoke. Chapter 896. Jiu Yuana reached out and took the Golden Dragon King reverse scale. It was warm, smooth, and nice to the touch. The familiar aura of the Golden Dragon King couldn't be faked. In addition, the bloodline fluctuations of the five-clawed Golden Dragon King in Lu Yuan's body were even more intense. This should be the result of Lu Yuan using his own blood essence to refine it. Jiyu Yuana could sense that this reverse scale had an extremely close connection with Lu Yuan. You gave me this reverse scale back then. Now, I'm giving this reverse scale to you. Even if we're thousands of kilometers apart, you can sense my condition, and I can sense yours. Our hearts are connected, and will never be separated. Gazing at Jiyu Yuana, Lu Yuan spoke softly. Abuchi. Jiyu Yuana was moved. She tightly grasped the golden reverse scale in her hand and couldn't help but call out softly. From today onward, you're my fiancé, Nao. Lu Yuan gently lowered his head and touched Jiyu Yuana's forehead as he murmured softly. Yes, from today onward, you're my fiancé, Abuchi. Jiyu Yuana also said softly. Yes, you're mine, and I'm yours. Lu Yuan smiled gently and hugged Jiyu Yuana tightly again. Jiyu Yuana lay obediently in Lu Yuan's arms. The two snuggled up to each other, and a strong smell of love permeated the air. Why do I feel a little uncomfortable? Seeing the two of them hugging each other makes me feel uncomfortable all over. The Fire Dragon King was a little puzzled. Me too. I even have the urge to hit someone. The Water Dragon King faintly said. The two dragons didn't understand what love was, so naturally, they didn't know what it meant to show off. They just felt a little uncomfortable looking at it. If it were in the past, they would have just done it. Nurturing feelings didn't exist. They only wanted to reproduce. What did they know about love? Now that they saw Lu Yuan and Jiyu Yuana being so lovey-dovey, they couldn't help but feel like they couldn't stand it anymore. Why don't we call them away? The Fire Dragon King suggested. Forget it. I have a feeling that if we call them away now, the Silver Dragon King might go crazy. Just bear with it. It'll be over soon. The Water Dragon King said. Then we'll just have to endure it. The Fire Dragon King sighed and drooped its head. Its fiery red dragon soul seemed to be a little dispirited. The two of them snuggled together for a long while before Jiyu Yuana finally raised her head to look at Lu Yuan, and asked in a soft voice, Little Yuan, where did you get the Golden Dragon King's reverse scale? Wasn't it imprisoned in the divine realm? Could it have escaped to the lower realm? Why are you asking me this? Could it be that you want to devour it? Lu Yuan asked. Yes, if I devour it, I should be able to become the new dragon god. At that time, I'll have a better chance of counterattacking the god realm. Jiyu Yuana admitted it directly without concealing anything. But if you devour it, will you still be you? Lu Yuan asked with furrowed brows. He didn't know what the original dragon god was, but the Golden Dragon King and Silver Dragon King were a man and a woman. He was worried that something bad would happen to Jiyu Yuana after she devoured the Golden Dragon King. There shouldn't be any bad changes. After I devour it, I should be the master, Jiyu Yuana said in a low voice. Probably not. Lu Yuan looked straight into Jiyu Yuana's eyes and said, Are you using probably to answer me? Let's not talk about this anymore. With me here, you don't have to take the risk of fusing with the Golden Dragon King. The dragon god's power is only SOSO. It couldn't defeat the 5 godly monarchs in the past, and it still can't defeat them now. If it wants to defeat the 5 godly monarchs, it'll still have to rely on the power of laws. I've studied the Clear Aura Divine Seed for a long time, and I've discovered that the Clear Aura Divine Seed was naturally born after the creation of the Divine Realm. After many years of nurturing, its power of laws has already begun to resonate with the essential laws of the universe, and it's no longer just limited to the current divine realm and the planes under its rule. This means that even though the Clear Aura Divine Seed was only born after the God of Creation created the divine realm, the power imbued within it has already exceeded the limits set by the God of Creation. If I can successfully attain the Clear Aura Divine Seed and become a God of laws, I'll be able to resonate with the essential laws of the entire universe, and perhaps even become more powerful than the God of Creation. As for the 5 godly monarchs formed by the God of Creation, do you think they'll still be a match for me when that time comes? Lu Yuan asked. A God of laws is that powerful? Jiu Yuana's mouth gaped open in a surprised manner. That's right, so don't think too much about it. Just be the little woman behind me. Besides, I obtained this Golden Dragon King reverse scale purely by coincidence, and I don't know where the Golden Dragon King is, either. Lu Yuan replied in an indifferent manner. Be the little woman behind you? Sure, but we'll talk about it when you surpass me. Jiu Yuana giggled. Mph, I'll surpass you sooner or later. Just you wait. Lu Yuan raised Jiu Yuana's chin with his right hand and snorted. Then I'll be waiting for that day to come. Jiu Yuana chuckled. She had never doubted that Lu Yuan would surpass her in the future, and she was even looking forward to that day. Mph, then let's start slowly from now on. I'm going to increase my power. Lu Yuan snorted and pecked Jiu Yuana on the lips before releasing her and walking over to the remains of the Fire and Water Dragon Kings. You two can begin now, Lu Yuan said in an indifferent voice as he looked at the remnant souls of the two Dragon Kings. The remnant soul of the Fire Dragon King heaved a sigh of relief and said, Phew, we can finally begin. It's been so unbearable. I'll go first. Then I'll have to trouble you. Lu Yuan said softly as he sat down cross-legged. Golden blood energy burst out from his body as he circulated his bloodline and released his martial soul of the five-clawed Golden Dragon King. Suddenly, a monstrous dragon aura swept across the entire area. What kind of dragon is this? I've never seen it before, but this aura is really terrifying. The Water Dragon King couldn't help but sigh as he looked at the five-clawed Golden Dragon King martial soul on Lu Yuan's body. This is the five-clawed Golden Dragon King. It's a long story, and I can't explain it in a short time. When you enter my mind in the future, you'll have plenty of time to understand it. Let's get down to business first. Lu Yuan said. Yes, you're right. Let's get down to business first. The remnant soul of the Fire Dragon King looked at the 7 soul rings on Lu Yuan's body, and there was a hint of surprise in his eyes. Then, he focused his gaze and used his divine sense. Suddenly, a dragon roar sounded, and a fiery red light shot out from the huge dragon corpse. It carried an extremely dense fire energy. The fiery red light quickly flew in front of Lu Yuan and revealed its true appearance. It was a pair of extremely beautiful fiery red dragon wings. There were raging flames burning on the wings, and the temperature was so high that it had exceeded the range of ultimate fire. It was even hotter than the golden angelic flames that Lu Yuan felt on the 9 steps heavenly stairs. Chapter 897. The Fire Dragon King was a dragon king that could control fire elements. Its strength was comparable to a first-tier god. It could be said that it had reached the peak in the aspect of controlling fire. Its flames undoubtedly surpassed the ultimate fire. Even the holy flame of the angel god was inferior to the might of its flames. After all, the angel god's strongest power was actually the power of holiness and light. Although it had some attainments in the aspect of flames, it paled in comparison to the Fire Dragon King. If one had to find a first-tier god that could compete with the Fire Dragon King in the aspect of flames, it could only be the fire god of the 7 great elemental gods. The fire god of the 7 great elemental gods under the Shura god was very powerful. He was also a veteran first-tier god. In the aspect of controlling fire, he should be on par with the Fire Dragon King. However, if the Fire Dragon King was still alive, the Fire Dragon King should have a higher chance of winning if they were to fight on the same level. That was because the physical body of the dragon race was tyrannical. The same first-tier divine body, but the physique of the dragon race was much stronger than the physique of an ordinary god. It couldn't be helped. This was the strength of the dragon race. It was a pity that although the dragon race was powerful, it was difficult to pass down their pure bloodline. On the other hand, subdragons and other mixed-blood dragons with dragon blood could reproduce rather quickly. The fiery red gorgeous dragon wings carried a tyrannical might. After all, it was the soul bone of the Fire Dragon King, or rather a divine bone. The energy it contained was naturally unimaginable. The strong energy fluctuation woke Lu Yuan up from his contemplation. He immediately calmed his mind and started to operate his soul power. The huge golden dragon wings on his back spread out, carrying waves of pressure. The fiery red gorgeous dragon wings floated in the air and arrived behind Lu Yuan. After that, they directly pressed onto Lu Yuan's back. Immediately, Lu Yuan felt a burst of heat on his back. Because the Fire Dragon King took the initiative to control the fusion, although the temperature of the flames was high, he didn't feel that kind of burning sensation. On the contrary, that kind of heat was rather comfortable. It was as if his whole body was soaked in the warm sun. There was a kind of pleasure that reached his body and mind. Lu Yuan swore that this was definitely the most comfortable time he had ever fused with a soul bone. The fiery red dragon wings were tightly attached to Lu Yuan's back. A strange fiery red energy was injected into Lu Yuan's back. Using his spine as a base, the energy slowly covered the few ribs connected to it, and slowly merged with them. The biggest difference between an external soul bone and a normal soul bone was that the external soul bone was attached to the bones outside of the 6 soul bones, while the ribs connected to the spine were undoubtedly the bones outside of the torso. The category of torso bones was actually very broad. Strictly speaking, the entire skeleton that encompassed the thorax and the vertebrae were considered a complete torso bone. However, the pair of dragon wings that Lu Yuan obtained only covered a small portion of the spine and a few connected ribs. They didn't extend to the chest, so there was no doubt that they were external soul bones. Compared to obtaining an ordinary divine rank soul bone, Lu Yuan naturally hoped to obtain an external soul bone. After all, it could be evolved. It was a divine rank external soul bone to begin with. If there was a coincidence in the future, it might even evolve into a supradivine tool. A strange energy was injected into the few ribs on his back. Lu Yuan only felt a slight itch on his back. At the same time, a tyrannical and pure divine power surged into Lu Yuan's body from his back. This was the Fire Dragon King's divine power that came from the soul bone. Although it wasn't much, it was undoubtedly a good fortune for Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan's clear soul power took the initiative to welcome this surge of soul power. At the same time, it also enveloped this surge of soul power and divided it into 3 parts. 2 parts were transferred to the Atlas Palm and the Dark Golden Terraclaw to help them evolve. The other part was used to nourish his body. Only a small amount of divine power flowed into his dantian and was refined into pure soul power. Time passed minute by minute, and the absorption of the Fire Dragon King's wings was nearing its end. The absorption of a soul bone wasn't as complicated as a soul ring. Furthermore, the Fire Dragon King had taken the initiative to fuse with it, so the absorption was exceptionally smooth. Lu Yuan's heart skipped a beat. The dragon wings on his back extended. 1 golden and 1 red pair of dragon wings flapped at the same time, bringing with them gusts of wild wind. It seems like the fusion is complete. It's my turn then. Seeing the dragon wings on Lu Yuan's back flapping, the Water Dragon King's voice sounded. An icy blue streak of light flew out from the dragon corpse that was a few hundred meters long and went straight for Lu Yuan. The blue streak of light got closer and closer. Finally, it revealed its true appearance not far from Lu Yuan. It was also a pair of icy blue wings. There was a layer of ice on it, and white fog was rising from it. It was bone-chilling cold. If the Fire Dragon King's control of fire was exceptional, then the Water Dragon King's control of ice was exceptional. Ice was of the water element, but its offensive strength was 1 level higher. As a water-type holy dragon, the Water Dragon King could control the temperature and form of water at will. If the temperature was normal, it would be water. If the temperature was extremely cold, it would be ice. This pair of dragon wings contained an ice-type energy that surpassed ultimate ice. Just like the Fire Dragon King's wings, this pair of dragon wings flew directly to Lu Yuan's back and imprinted themselves on it. The Fire Dragon King's wings were above Lu Yuan's golden dragon wings, while the Water Dragon King's wings were below his golden dragon wings. After being imprinted, the Water Dragon King's pure godly power was released from the wings. A strange energy started to envelop the ribs below and the small piece of spine that was connected to them. At the same time, the Water Dragon King's godly power surged into Lu Yuan's body. It was the same operation. The power was divided into 3 parts. 2 parts went into the heavenly palm bone and the dark golden terraclaw, while the remaining part nourished his body. Compared to the star anise mysterious icegrass and the blazing delicate apricot, the ice-fire tempering golden body that was being tempered by the soul bones attached to the dragon wings of the water and fire dragon king was clearly on a much higher level. Lu Yuan could even feel that his pseudo-godly body was rapidly strengthening. He was getting closer and closer to a true godly body. He was very excited, but Lu Yuan didn't want to take this opportunity to improve his godly body. He was waiting. After completely digesting these 2 pairs of dragon wings and improving his physique to a certain level, he would use the 2nd-generation Golden Dragon God's core sealed in his Golden Dragon right arm to improve his godly body. Forging a godly body wasn't a small matter. He couldn't be careless. He had to be 100% confident before he could do it. If he wanted to forge a godly body, he had to forge a godly body that was the strongest among his peers. His goal was to surpass the dragon god's physique. Even though it was still a little far away, this day would come sooner or later as long as he took it step by step. The feeling of fusing with the water dragon king's wings was different from fusing with the fire dragon king's wings. It wasn't as warm as being under the sun, but there was a refreshing feeling. It was a refreshing feeling that made one feel refreshed. It was like entering a cool spring on a hot day. It was very comfortable. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,